511-511. Remember, Zipa is happy, Z spelled backwards. Go to zipa.com and use that code PINK today, or text PINK to 511-511. Text fees may apply. WCPT will be broadcasting a live in-person Union Strong panel on Wednesday, October 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. And you're invited. Join me, Thom Hartmann, and WCPT's morning host, Richard Chu, at the Ironworkers Local 63 Training Center in Broadview. Panelists include Paul Wendy from Ironworkers Local 63, Rob Fulton from Riggers Local 136, Cliff Horowitz from Horowitz & Associates, Andy Rico from IBEW Local 176, and Tom Villanova from Southland Friends of Labor. This event is proudly sponsored by Ironworkers Local 63, Riggers Local 136, Horowitz & Associates, IBEW Local 176, and Southland Friends of Labor. Wednesday, October 15th from 3 to 5 p.m., Ironworkers Local 63 Training Center, 2523 Lexington Street in Broadview. That's just off the 25th Street exit on the Eisenhower Expressway. All listeners must register to attend this free event at WCPT820.com. Just click on the banner.
You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it hard to fight the flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. President Trump met with Turkey's President Recep Erdogan at the White House. He is concerned about Turkey's relationship with Russia. The president has been trying to get Russia and Ukraine to agree to stop the fighting.
I'm very disappointed in Putin, and he's been fighting hard. He's been fighting long, and they lost millions. They lost like 1 million soldiers. And you know, with all of the heavy bombardment over the last 2 weeks, they've gained almost no land.
The president also indicated a deal may be near to end the fighting in Gaza. At the UN General Assembly, Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas says there must be a two-state solution.
Peace cannot be achieved if justice is not achieved. And there can be no justice if Palestine is not freed.
More countries in Europe are backing the two-state solution in the Middle East. Amazon reached a $2.5 billion settlement with the Federal Trade Commission,
which says the online giant tricked consumers into signing up for its Prime memberships and made it difficult to cancel once they did. The Seattle company will pay $1 billion in civil penalties, the largest fine in FTC history, and $1.5 billion will be paid to consumers who were unintentionally enrolled in Prime or were deterred from canceling their subscriptions. Amazon, however, said that it was confident that it would win the case, but decided to resolve the issue instead of going through potentially years of trials and appeals. The company has admitted no wrongdoing in the case. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A jury in Arizona convicted a man on 8 murder charges for carrying out a string of shootings in Metro Phoenix over a 3-week span in 2017. A man in Texas faces execution for killing his girlfriend's 13-month-old daughter during a torturous ordeal the couple said was part of an exorcism to expel a demon from the child's body. This is AP News. Merriam-Webster is adding 5,000 words to its collegiate dictionary. It's been 22 years since the dictionary has been updated, and a lot has changed. The new words include petrichor. That is a pleasant odor after rainfall following a warm, dry period. Dumb phone. That's a device used before there were smartphones. Speaking of technology, there's teraflops, a unit of measure for calculating the speed of a computer. This new word every teenager should know. Riz. Other additions are ghost kitchen, dash cam, dad bod, cold brew, hard pass, adulting, and one with a political connection.
Cancel culture.
Merriam-Webster also got rid of some obscure and antiquated words, including N-wheel, meaning encircle. Collegiate originally focused on the needs of college students. The general interest, the Merriam-Webster dictionary, is more popular.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high in the mid-70s. Winds out of the north around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. And then for tonight, mostly clear with a low around 56. By Friday, sunshine, a high around 80 degrees. Saturday, plenty of blue skies and sun and a high around 83. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 75.
Hi, this is Patty Vasquez, and I'm thrilled to announce that Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez now has its very own podcast that you can subscribe to. Actually, 2 Driving It Home full episodes and Driving It Home featured interviews. You can subscribe to one or both. Just search for Driving It Home wherever you get your podcasts, or get the podcast links on my show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on my picture.
Patty Vasquez, weeknights 5 to 7 on WCPT 820.
Out Chicago.
I'm saying it again. Equal rights for others does not mean less rights for you. It does not.
People are insecure. It's horrible.
But if you could hear my voice and you voted for this, just think about, how does gay marriage affect your life? It does not make any sense. It does not make any sense.
Cash Out Chicago every Sunday, 11 to 1 on WCPT 820. Remember when you get to work to hop over to WCPT820.com or the TuneIn Radio app and stream The Stephanie Miller Show. Weekdays 8 to 11 a.m. on Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter. Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
All right, this is exciting, isn't it?
Here we go, guys, in 5, 4, 3. Here we go.
It's time for Joan Esposito. Live, local, and progressive.
Thank you for good programming. I appreciate the content and really enjoyed every moment.
It's a privilege to have you on your station and listen. It's good stuff. It's very educational.
It's time for Joan Esposito on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Guess what, progressives? This ain't Joan Esposito. Yeah, I'm back. Remember I said earlier this morning that I would be on for Joan sitting in today? Well, yeah, I am. This is Richard Chu from Chu's Views in the morning, 6 to 8 a.m. here on WCPT. And Joan sent me the bat signal yesterday and said, I need you. You're my Robin. She's Batwoman, or Catwoman, I should say, and I'm her Robin. So Joan said, hey, can you hang out in the afternoon tomorrow for me? And I said, absolutely, Joan. So here I am, guys. Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago. Make your way over, as I say in the morning, to heartlandsignal.com. All of our great stuff is there. Everything from my shows, short versions and long versions, Patty's, Jones, of course, Edwin, our Out Chicago folks from the weekend. So many great articles and posts that we have there. So 2 places. Go to the WCPT website and go to heartlandsignal.com. The folks at Heartland do such a great job of keeping us informed as our digital newsroom to make sure that we have additional information to share with you guys, whether it be me in the morning or Joan and Patty in the afternoon, and then our weekend shows. So, make your way over there. But yes, I'm sitting in for Joan this afternoon, and hopefully I won't say certain things that are Choose Views things. That'll probably happen, though. I mean, it's inevitable that I'm going to say something that I would say in the morning, but that's okay because my brain I transported myself to shift gears and become the afternoon voice here on WCPT. But as you guys know, the number is 773-763-9278. I will be taking calls this first hour. Because in the 3 o'clock hour, we will have our good friend Thom Hartmann with us, talking a little bit about his book, talking a little bit about Thom Hartmann things. I'm excited to have a chat with Thom. He's always great to talk with. He's always great to follow and to read his books. Thom and I are going to be doing an event, Union Hall event on the 15th of October, and then he's going to be signing some books up at Max and Benny's restaurant in Northbrook on that same day, October 15th, which is a Wednesday. So make sure you make your way to the site and click on either of the banners so that you can attend, because we do have to kind of know how many folks are going to show up. So make a point of being there. And then in the 3:30 hour, we'll have with us Matt Gertz, who is one of the great folks over at Media Matters. So I'm looking forward to talking with him in the 3:30 hour. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, we will have a gentleman known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Hold on one second. There we go. Brooklyn Dad Defiant will be with us in the 4 o'clock hour. So we got three folks on with us today: 3 o'clock, 3:30, and 4. And then I'll be taking some more of your calls in the 4:30 to 5 o'clock time frame. But right now, give us a holler, because I want to take your calls this next hour, first hour of the show. See what's on your mind. See what you want to talk about. I know there are many of you guys who want to get into the conversations that we have, and oftentimes the lines fill up and we can't get you on. But today, we will do our best this first hour to do that. Love to hear from you. Just got a nice text from our good friend Dave from Hartmann Estates about the Trump administration. So, yeah, guys, give us a holler, 773-763-9278. I'll probably be bringing you some clips along the way, certainly in this first hour, to make sure we get things, to keep you abreast of some things going on. So, this morning, I had the guests I had on my show this morning were really focusing on the conversation around bias. One of my guests, Dante King, was in the 7:30 segment of the show, and we talked a little bit about that, and we had a really good conversation. Dante always keeps it real in terms of dealing with bigotry and racism and sexism in America. And for those of you who don't know, those are my they're my 4 pillars of what I think are our biggest problems, or that lead to some of the biggest problems in the country, are racism, sexism, Christian nationalism, and privilege. And then you can build under that other things. But I think those 4 are they're the tipping point of why we have so much angst and problem and fighting and trouble in the country today. And what I said about that is the more America pulls its head out of the sand, the better the country will be, the better off the country will be. The more people are willing to acknowledge those things, the better off the country will be. And acknowledge that they exist, because once we do that, then we have the ability to go about fixing them. Otherwise, we're just wash, rinsing, and repeating. And I don't want to see us continue to do that as a country. Right now, we don't have the luxury of that any longer. We have to pull our heads out of the sand. And that phrase or statement can be used in a lot of venues. But as it relates to everyday individuals and what they want to see from our country, we got to be real. We have to stop lying about things. I talked to a cancer survivor, Bill Zdenek, who was a guest on the show, as a volunteer with the American Cancer Society. He didn't say these words, but I'm saying these words. When it comes to medical care, specifically cancer treatment or cancer awareness and cancer diagnosis, we got to pull our heads out of the sand and get checked out. Now, I recognize, I say this with all respect, that some people may not have the medical coverage that they need to get in to see the doctor as readily as others. I get that. So nobody take offense. But we do need to make sure that we get people into the doctor to check on their medical conditions. I said this a few months ago when I saw things happening with regard to the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services, that I'm advocating that everybody get in and see their doctor, no matter what. Get to see your doctor, get your meds checked out if you have medications that you take. Do whatever you can to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to your medical care and treatment. I darn near beg everybody to please do that. Get to see your doctor. Have your medications checked out if you have medications that you are dependent on. If you're eligible for the vaccine, and this is a decision that you make with your doctor, I'm not trying to give you medical advice when it comes to the vaccine, but if you are eligible and can get it, and you and your doctor agree that it's a thing to do, then take advantage and get that done. Why have I said these things? I want to make sure that everybody is prepared in the event of some significant changes greater than the ones we've already seen when it comes to what the federal government is doing and what they're taking away. Okay? So that's why I've been saying that on Choose Views in the morning. That's why I'm saying it again today. And that's part of what Bill Zdenek said this morning when he talked about screening for prostate cancer for men. That's another area where we have to pull our heads out of the sand when it comes to care and treatment. We as a country owe it to ourselves and all the ones that we care about to keep our heads out of the sand. We've got to stand up. I say this so many times, chins up, shoulders back, it's time to fight. And part of that means you got to stand up and say, you know what? I am not going to accept these things any longer. We can only blame our elected officials for so long and for so much. Yes, we elect them to go and do the work that as representatives and a representative government on any level that they go and do. And rather than but, we have to also do our part. And a big part of our part, Matt, is to push them, to get them to pull their heads out of the sand and, stop referring to the folks on the right as their colleagues. Right now, they're not your colleagues. They're not your colleagues. I'm not going to say they're your enemies, but they're certainly not your colleagues. So our role is, I think, very easily defined, and that is we have to stand up. We have to have the will to fight for the things that we say we believe in. And so as it relates to me, my responsibility to you guys is to keep you motivated, keep you fired up, help you keep your chins up and your shoulders back, so that we can keep fighting forward. And that's kind of my opening message today, is to remember that we have to fight forward. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and when I come back, we are going to grab your calls. I can see the lines are full, so we'll make absolutely sure we get you guys in today. That's why I said this first hour we'll get as many calls in as possible. So, Matt, let's take a break. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Richard Chu from Choose Views, sitting in for the great Joan Esposito on WCPT. We'll be right back. Hey, progressives, this is Richard Chu from Choose Views. People ask me oftentimes, Richard, why do you fight? I fight because I stand on the shoulders of my family and ancestors. I fight because of the people who may be taken advantage of. But most importantly, it's required in a civil, caring democracy. It's something that I fight for and I believe in, and I'll do it every day. That's why I fight. So, stay tuned, progressives.
Richard Chu, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
Fall is here and colder nights are on the way. Is your home ready to stay warm and energy efficient? Green Attic is Chicagoland's trusted expert in attic insulation, spray foam, crawl space encapsulation, and mold remediation, solutions that seal in comfort and cut down on high heating bills. If your upstairs feels drafty or your heating system is constantly running, your attic may be to blame. Their team helps balance temperatures and reduce energy waste from the top down. They also offer full-service roofing through Green Attic Roofing, covering asphalt shingles, flat roofs, premium roofing solutions, and solar panels. Every project comes with a 10-year labor warranty and instant online estimates to help homeowners replace aging roofs before winter sets in. With over 15 years of experience and over 1,000 five-star reviews, Green Attic delivers real comfort season after season. Visit greenattic.com for a free installation consultation, or go to greenatticroofing.com for an instant roofing estimate today.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT 820.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's not Joan, it's Richard. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the text messages. Carl in Kankakee. Let's see, who else should I give a little shout out to? I think it's Dogman. I think that's right. Okay, I hope I got it right. Nobody be upset if I got it wrong. Okay, Matt, it was made clear to me by one of our text persons to say, yes, where are the Epstein files? And all this, I've been saying this on my show, saying it every day. These things that are happening, yes, they are still distractions, and we want the Epstein files to be released, period. You fight that hard. If you were that innocent, quote unquote, or not complicit, or whatever the wording would be, on a document that could absolve you of all the things that people are saying, then I would be like, look, I'm going to hold a fireside chat and read it to you myself.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, with that, if somebody said you and I had done X, Y, and Z, and we had information that they were asking for, and that information said, you and I said, you know what? It shows that it's not us. I'd be like, man, we're going on tour. It's not happening, and that says to me that there is more than just smoke, there's fire. So let's grab some calls. Let's see what Jim from Chicago has to say. Hey, Jim, good afternoon, and welcome to Joan Esposito, Live, Local, and Progressive.
Hi, Rich. I'm looking forward, just subjectively myself, to this government shutdown, because at some point, to govern the United States, you have to have a consensus of both parties, independents, and everybody else, every citizen in the country. We can't be running on a one-party rule. And this administration refuses to sit down and negotiate. They won't negotiate in the House or the Senate. So at this point, I'm looking forward to the shutdown, because at some point we have to realize as American citizens we can't be ruled by one party.
Yeah.
It just can't exist like this. We can't be by fiat by the Republican Party. They refuse to negotiate on any of these points. They're close. The disaster that's headed toward our way, and they won't even negotiate about it. But I'm sure they're going to close it down. And Trump today said he's got a plan. He's got a plan for everything. He's got a plan for the next world. But the point is, he. They're scrambling now because, in my estimation, it can only benefit the Democrats at this point, because I refuse to be neutered in this country. I don't want to walk around with a one-party rule. It's nothing that I could imagine, and I'm looking forward to it. This is just my point. If I had to live in a tent and take it, I would do it, because this is absolutely bizarre that these cuts don't even make any sense. When in the wealthiest country in the world, we're cutting Medicare.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy?
What's crazy about it, Jim? Here's the thing. One of the other things that's so crazy about this is I look at the kind of the domino effect of this, and let's just play this out. If the federal government's going to shut down, that means that federal employees are going to be the first ones that are hit by the shutdown. But we have to also remember that federal employees don't just live and work in Washington, D.C. or in Northern Virginia or in Western Maryland. They live and work all over the nation, and as a result of that, that has a negative impact on the economies throughout the entire country. So what that means is that someone that works in a federal office in, let's say, Birmingham, Alabama, or in Little Rock, Arkansas, or in the reddest of red places of the Panhandle of Florida, and the list goes on. This doesn't just affect, quote unquote, Washington, D.C. workers. It affects anyone that's a federal employee. So this is where the Republican Party, to your point, is, I don't want to use the wrong language, but they're hurting themselves, the Republican elected officials, because their constituents in those red communities are going to be impacted by a federal government shutdown. So
they have to be flexible. At some point, just to be a party, they have to be flexible enough to realize that they have to negotiate these things. And I agree with you. I mean, I personally see that I can't see it's inevitable to me. I can't see how the seven Democrats in the Senate could possibly go along with this gag.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they'll try the nuclear option, whatever they're going to try. I know that Trump this morning said that he'd love to fire every Democrat throughout the country. He'd love to do that, put them out of work. But it doesn't even. It's just at a point now where we've got to go on strike. I think a national strike would even be better. But anyway, Rich, something has to be done. And thanks for taking my call, Rich, and thank you much.
Awesome, Jim. Thanks for making the call in. We appreciate your contribution. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. You guys have lit up the lines. It's great to see everyone's out and about, on the phone at least, calling and out and about doing whatever you're doing. It's gorgeous here in Chicago. In the upper Midwest, weather's pretty good. So if you're in the upper Midwest, get out and about. And if you're anywhere in the country, and don't stay in the house today. If it's nice out, get out of the house. Go do something. And I'm making the assumption that, you're ambulatory and you haven't just had knee surgery and you're still walking around on crutches. But thanks for you guys being with us today as I sit in for my colleague, Joan. I can faithfully say colleague because Joan and I are team members. We're working together and working in the same direction versus, again, like I said earlier, we have to get our Democratic elected officials to stop saying our colleagues on the other side of the aisle. They're not your colleagues. They are your adversaries right now. And going back to what Jim just said. All right, let's grab another call before we go to break. Let's go to Roosevelt. Good afternoon, Teddy Roosevelt. Is he there?
Thank you.
Hey, how are you?
Nice talking to you. Hey, listen, I want to touch upon two subjects.
Okay.
The day that Jimmy Kimmel came back, which was Tuesday.
Yep.
Oh, tonight. It kind of went unnoticed that Jimmy played a video, very short video, of Trump himself defending the First Amendment and free speech. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I caught it.
Okay. So, with his own words, he always trips over his own words, or he always, gets caught in the same thing. And then he switches off constantly, such as with what he's doing with Ukraine. Now he's on Zelensky's side. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But for how many years has this war gone on, Richard, between Ukraine and Russia? 3 years, I think?
We're 3+ years now, yeah.
Okay, so for 3 years, you mean to tell me he finally woke up? And then I want to hit you with that. And then the last but not least, have you looked into what's going on down there in Argentina with Javier Milei?
Yeah.
That he wants to send them money to bail him out?
To bail him out, yeah. I know.
I said this in Spanish earlier in the morning on another station in Spanish because it's being kind of, overlooked by the press. And that's key,
Well, they don't want to. Listen, in reverse order, the situation in Argentina, I mean, I start off by saying this right now. Anything that Donald Trump does and talks about or releases is a distraction. Anything to not, even the situation where it's now been revealed that the escalator stopping at the UN and the teleprompter not working were at the hands of people that are part of his staff and part of his team. But for a moment, it gave Caroline Leavitt a chance to say some garbage, and for Trump to say that the UN owes him an apology. Then we shift to Argentina. Another situation where we should keep our hands out of this. This is the same dude that said we're going to focus on America first, right? To take care of Americans first. But he wants to help out a dude that, it's a sketchy situation. Another distraction because, see, you and I are talking about it. And now Jimmy Kimmel, that situation isn't a distraction, but their response to it, meaning the White House, response to it will be one to create further distraction. So we have to look at right now, I think that the bar that we have to set is everything that comes out of this White House, everything, unless it's about something that's going to either lower the cost of goods, ease up on these taxes / tariffs, and even the thing with Ukraine, it's a distraction because now we're not talking about the Epstein files. So we have to, the lens that we have to use right now, I believe, is everything is a distraction until we see those files. Other things are. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
And briefly, Richard, you made me think of something. Did you see where Jesse Waters said that they should bomb the United Nations building? How did he get away with it from the FCC?
I said it.
What does he have to do?
Yesterday morning or this morning, I talked about that and linked about. This is where we clearly, the FCC, the federal government, and its part in this have lost their way because if Jimmy Kimmel can get, set aside for a few days for saying something that was truthful and not about Charlie Kirk necessarily, and then we've got Kilmeade talking about euthanizing homeless people, killing homeless people, and Waters saying that we should, that the UN should be bombed. Not only should they be off the air, their stations, their representative network should no longer exist in my mind. If they're going to continue to employ people that say those, that's hate speech, that's dangerous speech coming from no other place than the right. And let's just realize that Fox is on the right at this point. So I hear you loud and clear. Distractions, though. Distractions, most definitely. Roosevelt, thanks for calling. Thanks for your contribution. We're going to take a quick break. All right, guys, good to be with you this afternoon, sitting in for Joan Esposito. Of course, our number here is 773-763-9278. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll grab more of your calls, so sit tight. This is Richard Chu, sitting in for Joan Esposito. We'll be right back.
Turn up the heat on every drive with a Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Our tariff-free vehicles are available for immediate delivery, like the 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease the 2025 Macan Electric for only $949 a month for 39 months. Don't miss out on the $7,500 EV tax credit ending September 30th. And grab your electric Porsche today at the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $4,929 to its excludes tax, title, license, and document. No security deposit required. Expires 9/30/2025.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high in the mid-70s. Winds out of the north around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. And then for tonight, mostly clear with a low around 56. By Friday, sunshine, a high around 80 degrees. Saturday, plenty of blue skies and sun, and a high around 83. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 73.
In Illinois, animals are being tortured illegally for fun. Horses are whipped and punched in the face. Terrified steers are beaten and shocked with electricity.
Animals with broken legs and backs receive no medical care.
Why won't political leaders stop this criminal abuse? Please visit www.steertailing.com to help Showing Animals Respect and Kindness abolish these criminal acts. And please tune in on Saturdays at 5 p.m. for Chicago Alliance for Animals If Cage Walls Could Talk.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT 820.
Hey, this is Richard Chu, sitting in for Joan Esposito. Thanks for tuning in, and I am back. If you are having trouble keeping up with your bills, it's time to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender, about a fresh start debt consolidation mortgage. Sam, 56, press operator, earning $90,000 a year, living in a $300,000 single-family home with a $150,000 mortgage. Despite having equity in his home, Sam missed his January mortgage payment, which dropped his credit score by more than 60 points and prevented him from refinancing until February of the next year. If Sam called Team Hochberg, If Sam had called Team Hochberg in December, they could have helped him pay off his debt, avoid missing the mortgage payment, and enhance his credit score. So if you're struggling with bills and have equity in your home, call Team Hochberg now, not tomorrow, not next week, or next month, at 855-563-2843. Team Hochberg helped thousands of WCPT listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call. Again, 855-563-2843, or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843, or visit the website you know and love, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. There you go. All right, guys, glad to have you with us this afternoon. I almost said this morning. See, I caught myself. Shout out to one of my sisters-in-law who sent me a great text reminding me, talking about care. Her mother, my mother-in-law, our mother, make it simple. Our mother used to say, and this is so true, if you don't take care of yourself, no one else will do it for you. So shout out to my sister-in-law, Terry, for reminding us of that. pulling one's head out of the sand is one of those tools of taking care of ourselves, particularly when it comes to our health. Let's grab a couple other quick calls, Matt. Let's go to Victor. Is that Victor from the northwest side of the United States of America?
Hey, Richard Chu, how do you do?
Hey, man.
You know, you have such a great program in the morning. I want everybody to listen to Richard Chu's views in the morning because you are on the front line there, Mr. Chu. Your programming brings what other programs never do bring, and that are people that are running for Democratic seats in the House and Democratic local and state governments. And these people are right there, ready, willing to fight for America. And that's what I like about your show. But,
Thanks,
you know, is that good?
Thank you.
It's true, Mr. Chu. But also, you know, Donald Trump wants to remove a lot of government jobs, right? And you mentioned that earlier. But I think the whole purpose is to actually destroy the government for the people and by the people. He wants to install a government by Donald Trump and for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And that was the whole purpose of Jimmy Kimmel. He wanted to take away our freedom of speech, our First Amendment right. But now he wants to cut all the jobs if the government is shut down. And the reason he wants to cut all these jobs is so he can end a lot of the services and programs and entitlements that we have for the American people. He wants the government to serve only himself. And he wants to be a dictator, that's for sure. Everything that Donald Trump says has been a lie from day one. And now he's going on and on about Gaza and releasing the hostages. He's been saying that for 8 months. You can't believe him.
No.
You can't believe him. No.
And you know, Victor, here's another thing to add to what you're saying about Trump, and it's for him. It's about him. Anybody that voted for Donald Trump in this last election, or the Republicans at large, across the board, I cut nobody any slack. If you rationalize it in your head, if you have friends and family and business associates and whatever that rationalize voting for Donald Trump and the Republican Party, you got hoodwinked or you knowingly decided to cause harm to yourself. And here's why.
Exactly.
Because it was all in plain sight. It wasn't hidden. It was put out in front of people to see. Many people made the decision to not follow what they saw. And now the guy who said he was going to do everything in the world to take care of everybody in America, and on day one he was going to fix everything, based on the numbers that I've been looking at, Victor, his worth, the family's worth went from somewhere in the range of $2-3 billion to approaching $10 billion inside of a year.
Exactly.
How many people have that right there? So how many people in this country, of the 78 million that voted for him and the whatever numbers that voted for the members, the Republican House of Representative members, both House and Senate, and other elections, have seen that kind of massive increase in their worth or their family's worth
absolutely
inside of a year? That should tell everybody everything that they need to know if they're paying attention. But now we got a bunch of people running around lying to themselves saying, we got to get rid of the Mexicans coming across the border. They're taking our jobs. We got to take care of those people that are eating the dogs and cats. You know, they all got hoodwinked, or they were looking for a reason to lie about their racism, their sexism, their Christian nationalism, and their privilege. It's that simple. Victor.
You're right. Yeah, you know, you're exactly right. But I think most of the people that did vote for Donald Trump were completely conned and fooled. You know, Donald Trump, he is probably the greatest charlatan, the greatest, grifter in the world. And he was able to convince millions of people that he was going to fix the government for them and make prices go down and, make all these promises that help to benefit the MAGA base. And just the opposite has been happening. Yeah. And people, I think, are waking up to that fact, and I hope they are. But I really do believe that they're not going to go along with Donald Trump, and we've seen what's happened in town halls. These are Republicans showing up at town halls, and they're yelling and screaming, and they want to lynch their representative.
Yeah.
And you really can't blame them,
Right on,
So
Victor.
I think they are waking up. But the problem is they're they're on a schedule to take over the government one way or another. And if they're gonna either try to rig the election in 26 or steal the election in 26 or call some sort of national emergency and cancel the election. There's something going on because he's on a nonstop crusade of one propaganda speech after another every single day. And you're right. The Epstein file is one of the worst that the MAGA base really wanted to see come out, and Donald Trump is holding it back. There's so much going on now; it's incredible. I can't even keep up with it. And I know, Mr. Chu, you must have a few sleepless nights trying to.
I do my best, Vic. I do my best. Listen, man, thanks for the call.
You're doing a great job, Mr. Chu. Richard Chu in the morning.
Thanks,
Chu's
man.
Views. Watch it.
All right, Vic. Have a great day. Stay safe, man. All right, guys, let's keep it moving because we got lines full. Let's go to Dave in Hoffman Estates. Good afternoon, Dave. Welcome to the show. What's going on?
Hey, Richard. I'm reading a story about this man that served in the Marines in Iraq, and he's illegal, as they would think, but he had been born in Mexico and migrated legally to the U.S. at age 5.
Okay.
Afraid to venture far from home as President Trump works to carry out deportation agenda. He has a green card residency permit and record of service in the U.S. military, but was detained by immigration authorities last year under the Biden administration. He fears that U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement raids under Trump could only mean more trouble. And he's saying, do I want to lead this nation? No, I want to serve it. I want to continue to serve my community.
Right.
It breaks my heart. He said that I fought for this nation to raise my children in this nation, and now I have to pull my children out of this nation. If I get deported, then what did I fight for? And
and that's a great. Thank you for adding that to the conversation, Dave. There are a number of reports. I haven't read them all. I've read some of them, not as many as maybe I should have. But there are a number of reports of people who are in a similar situation when it comes to this decision of, what do I do? Do I stay? Do I go? How do I navigate it if I do go? And we as a country should not be here. And granted, I've said this before on my show. I've said it in general. The Democratic leadership in the previous administrations, plural, could have done a different or better job when it comes to immigration. But at the end of the day, it's never been, the navigation by the Democratic leadership has never been to harm people versus where we are now, which is we're in full on, like Victor said, full on harm people rather than help people, particularly when it comes to this conversation, important one around Richard, immigration.
Check this out too on that story. He says there are well more than 100,000 military veterans living in the U.S. who do not have citizenship, according to estimates in recent years by the Congressional Records Research Service, despite military recruiters frequently describing service as a fast track to citizenship for troops and their family members. The Republican administration's immigration agenda is putting that at a renewed risk of deportation. Well, as one who had served, I had always thought, and I've said it before, and I don't know if on your show or the other ones, if you were willing to come and bleed, possibly give your body up or your life for a flag in a country that was not yours, and you go through, you took the oaths and stuff, and you should automatically be getting citizenship.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a system that needs to be tremendously repaired, fixed, made better. All the words we can use, Dave. But yeah. I agree with you. It's beyond something that we're beyond tippy-toeing around it, and unfortunately, we have the wrong folks in leadership to affect it right now. Dave, as always,
Richard,
man.
Go ahead. Close you with this one real quick. It also deals with military. More than a dozen service members have been suspended or relieved of duties for social media activity related to conservative activist Charlie Kirk's death.
Yeah. I know. Unbelievable, man. And same thing's happening with the threats that are coming from elected officials. I mean, I talked about this in the morning. Derek Van Orden up in Wisconsin threatening to pull federal funding from the Mayo Clinic if employees say something that's shrill about Charlie Kirk. I mean, that's insane. That's blackmail. And to have our military men and women have to go through that garbage, it's crazy. Dave, I hope you're well.
All right,
I haven't talked to you in a while, but I hope the missus is doing well and her health is strong.
Okay, maybe we'll get to see you again if they do another one.
Our next event, yeah, exactly. All right, man.
Good talking to you, Richard. Be well.
You too, man. Take care. Thanks for calling. Let's see. Well, we're not gonna. We'll hold off on calls because we'll hit this quick break. We come back and we'll kind of do rapid fire to get your calls in before the top of the hour. Let's take a quick break, Matt. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local and progressive here on WCPT AM 820. We'll be right back.
It's nice to know someone is on your side. Mark Drugs always has your back. No two dogs are the same. A dosage form or strength of medication that works for one dog may not work for another. A compounding pharmacy like Mark Drugs is here to help you with your pet's medication challenges. We'll be happy to help you when your pet is sick. After all, it can affect the whole family. That's why we give our four-legged patients customized medications to make it easier for them to take. For pet medication problems, first see your veterinarian, then talk to your hometown independent compounding pharmacy, Mark Drugs. If you'd like to know more about the ways we can personalize medication for each individual patient, we'd be happy to help. We are a compounding pharmacy, which means we can prepare the medication prescribed in a strength and dosage form that meets the patient's needs. Ask us how our pharmacy can help. You have a choice when it comes to your health care, and a great choice is Mark Drugs and Roselle and Deerfield, where you get better health and care for you and your pets. Check out the Pet of the Month at markdrugs.com.
WCPT replay.
Let's bring on our good friend Mike Nellis, political strategist.
How you spend your money is a reflection of your values. So, like, when the United States government's got money to spend, it's never spending that money to make sure that people have quality and affordable health care. It's never making sure that we can have fewer homeless people on the streets. And we're constantly told America is broke, our debt and our deficit are too high, it's all going to fall apart. But, man, when billionaires need another tax cut, or there's foreign governments that I don't agree with that, need more missiles to go terrorize people with, when it's ICE needs to, 10x their budget so that they can pull people out of Home Depot and send them to a country they're not even from. Man, the Republican Party never stops to go, man, is this a good use of money? Are we being wasteful here? No. They've always got money for that. They've never got money to help anybody else. And again, we can disagree on the margins on how we make sure everybody has health care, how we solve the homeless crisis, how we fix these things and improve people's lives, but they're not even trying to solve it.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT 820.
This is Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito on Joan's Afternoon Show, 2 to 5 here on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago. Let's grab us some more calls, Matt. Let's go to Matt in North Carolina. Matt, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Thank you. So what the last caller was talking about, we actually have a guy who ran for Senate. His name Matthew Ho. You could type his name in. He actually served in Iraq.
Right.
He just came out with a movie. It's on Paramount Plus. He just made a movie about Iraq. I think it came out 2 days ago. If people wanted to watch it.
Okay.
But it's about what the guy that was talking about. We got guys over there that that they come from Chile, from Argentina. They go over there and serve in Iraq, or they go over there and serve. They may lose their legs or whatever. And they come over back. They get like $12,000, and that's all they get. Mm-hmm. Then they go back home and they ain't got nothing. Okay, so but the other thing, during Vietnam, we used to have guys that served in Vietnam. And they came back. They got their citizenship. So I don't know what happened from Vietnam to today. But that is what's going on. We got, I'm pretty sure it's 93,000 American vets that go hungry every day. And we also have 17 right now. People could look it up. They commit suicide a day. The number used to be 22. They used to call it the 20. I think the 22 club or something like that. We had 22 American vets committing suicide that served in Iraq and Afghanistan because of what they were doing over there. what they seen, and then what they found out that they signed up, they were signing up for some people Halliburton getting rich off of stealing those people's gas, killing a lot of people for it, and the American people getting nothing. I mean, not that we should be getting something, but we shouldn't be fighting wars for occupation.
And to that end, Matt, we shouldn't. Whatever the engagement is that we're in, however it's determined, if it's through Congress, if it's through sending in troops, whatever, our men and women that serve, if they are injured in any capacity whatsoever, if there is any signs of PTSD that they aren't physically injured, but they're emotionally and or internally injured, we shouldn't think twice about making sure that they're taken care of. And but
the thing is that they're not.
No, I know that.
Not
I know that. I know that, and it's gotten worse, candidly, since Bush II and the Iraq War and Afghanistan War. Though it's gotten worse, and so the fix is difficult, but it's not difficult. It's easy if we just take our heads out of the sand and stop saying, let's protect the troops and God bless the troops. Well, when they come home from battle, we should be putting those blessings on them then, not just when they go off to battle or go off to any form of an engagement. So, Matt, thank you so much for your call and contribution. I got to grab a few more calls before we get to the top of the hour. But thank you, and stay safe down there in North Carolina. All right, let's go to Frank real quickly in St. Charles. Frank, what's happening?
Hey, Richard, pleasure to talk to you, man.
Thank you.
I was thinking a while back. I seen a clip on Instagram, and it had John Lennon on the Dick Cavett show, and he wanted to ask one simple question back in the 70s. He wanted to ask one simple question of all the leaders of the world. What is your goal? Because we all have goals. We have goals for our kids, ourselves, so on and so forth. I think coming to 50 years later, it seems that, or how many of years later, there is no goal. There's still the same enemies around the world. All the same things are still happening. Nothing's been solved. I mean, we're talking about the same things we've been talking about for the last 4 years in every election. There's not going to be another election. I mean, if we do not stand up and do something immediately, we got to quit talking about it. I don't know what to do other than we have to, millions upon millions of us have to take to the streets. Otherwise, it's over. It's happening, and there's nothing. I mean, it's happening, and all we're doing is talking about it because we don't know what to do.
Well,
and we need leaders. I think we need celebrities, everybody who's been talking about get out the vote, get out the vote, get out the vote. I don't hear any of them right now standing up because everybody's scared to death of what the retribution is going to be to them.
Yeah, one of the things that is, first of all, thank you for your contribution in that space. And there's a part of what you said that I agree with in terms of the action plan. And I've said this on my show in the mornings for a while now, that we can't wait for.
I listen to you in the morning.
Thank you, Frank, for that. One of the things that I don't think we can do this time around, because it creates the same narrative and expectation, and that is to wait for the man or the woman to ride in on their white horse to save us. We can't do that anymore.
Right.
We have to be active right now. And so my solution, I mean, listen, if I Frank, I'm going to say this, and I hope that nobody gets their undies in a bundle, and I'll say it quickly, and thank you for being with us. If I were that person, if I were that individual that became that voice, I'll tell you one of the first things that I would do is I would call out every single individually Republican in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, every Republican governor, every business leader that is standing in the way of bringing Donald Trump to justice. I would make sure that I would not bat an eye. I would hold a press conference, and that press conference would probably get shut down because the first thing I would do is to make sure that their names were names of complicity as it relates to Donald Trump not being brought to justice. And I would do it without any apologies. And then, second to that, Frank, I would then start giving people tasks in their communities in terms of making sure that they are involved in getting involved in local things that are going on right around the corner, right in their district, we have our automatic districts here in Chicago, and we've got other forms of that in the suburbs. I would start by giving people assignments. As that voice, right now, here's what you need to be doing today. Because people are looking for things to do. They want to be involved. But unfortunately, I guess, and fortunately, we're so prone to a singular voice, a person that's going to tell us what that thing should be. So what I've been trying to do, Frank, is make a point every day of doing something, getting involved on a local level, making sure you're reaching out to the congressional leaders or state leaders that are there, because those are things I think that are active tools. They allow people to be involved in the process, and it takes away a little bit, not all of it, Frank, of that despair. So I don't know if that is the answer, but I know that that's part of what I would be doing. So there you go. Frank, thanks for being with us, man.
Time, Richard.
Thanks for being with us today. Stay safe and keep calling and keep reminding us that we've got work to do. I promise you we'll listen, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thanks. All right, bye now.
Have a great day.
You too, man. Let's get one more call as best we can. Let's see if we can go to Steve from the Gold Coast, Matt. Good. Almost said good morning. Good afternoon, Steve. Welcome. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. And I wanted to make the point that what you're seeing in terms of a lot of this has to do with public perception. The big, beautiful bill was passed, but certain provisions would cut things like Medicare and Medicaid. They don't go into effect until 2027 for a reason. In other words, the people who might have been affected in 2026 or before are not going to know it. And they'll fall for the grip. They'll fall for the PR from this White House. And then all of a sudden 2027 comes around and somebody's going to say, I'm sorry, we don't cover this anymore, or we don't cover it to the same extent. Thanks the White House. Thanks the Republican Party. But they will have gone to the polls already. So, we've got to get the message out. If you are not well off in this country, you are going to suffer. If you're an elderly person, you are going to suffer.
Not going to, Steve. I mean, I know you're right, and already are. Because of the changes already are. I mean, you're from Chicago. You know the city. You know Weiss Hospital is about to shutter. I mean, that's not a rural hospital. That's right in the city of Chicago. So that's
shuttered, and now they want to reopen it. But I mean, where's that money going to come from?
Bingo.
Because and that's the other. Yeah, and our schools, the CTA has a budget deficit. We're talking about ending service for trains and buses at 9 p.m. in the next few months. And if you're thinking that, D.C. is going to bail us out, no, not this administration. So then what happens? We in L.A. and New York and other major metropolitan centers that are, Democratic hubs, we are the engine of this economy. It's not in Mississippi. It's not in Oklahoma. I'm sorry. It just isn't.
Nope.
This is what makes America so well off. But, if you listen to anybody, you would think that, we're the devil incarnate and everything is falling apart. And,
Man.
God, if New York and L.A. just fell into the ocean, America would be just fine. No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be worse off. Steve, it's good to hear your voice, man. I'm glad you're well. It's the top of the hour, so I got to kind of get things moving forward with our guests. Stay well, Steve. Good to hear Steve's voice. He's always there, a thinking person. And every now and again, Steve will throw something out that you just scratch your head and go, damn, that was smart. So thanks, Steve. Thanks to Victor. Thanks to everybody. Dave, Frank, all of you guys that we were able to kind of get squeezed in. Those of you who are on hold, stay with us. I know that we've got Thom coming up. We've got Matt Gertz coming up. And we've got Brooklyn, Dad Defiant, for this next hour and a half of the show. But in the 4:30 hour, I will try to get your calls in. If you want to sit on hold and wait, then do that. If not, call back. But we'll try to get some more calls in the 4:30 to 5 part of the show as we wrap up. But there you go, guys. I wanted to try to get in as much as possible. Let me get this promo read real quickly. Tonight, following me sitting in for Joan, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Dan Schaefer, creator of the Recombination Area and political editor of Civic Media in Wisconsin, and Rick Smith, the host of the Rick Smith Show here on WCPT. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time on WCPT, 8:20 a.m. Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Tomorrow on Choose Views, my show, I'll be joined by Karen Byrne, co-host of True Blue Politics Podcast, Bushra Amawala, the Democratic candidate for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois, and Shannon Fernando, who will be discussing Alabaster International's work to teach African women how to grow, harvest, and sell. She's a climate change expert, and so looking forward to chatting with her. You know, we had a couple of other folks on Choose Views earlier this week talking about our climate. So that's Choose Views tomorrow morning, 6 to 8 a.m., Monday through Fridays, here on WCPT, AM 820, Heartland Signal website. Tune in, YouTube, and Facebook. And then tomorrow on Joan will be back, hopefully, and her guests will include American Library Association President Sam Halnick. Let's take a break, guys. 773-763-9278 is the number. This is Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, and we will be right back.
Hi, my dad founded Chicago Community Acupuncture.
My dad did too.
That's because we're sisters.
Yeah, but it's true.
You know, acupuncture has helped billions of people, but some people are still afraid of it.
Why?
They're afraid it'll hurt, or that it won't do anything to help them.
That's silly. We get acupuncture all the time, and it's like less than a mosquito bite. And everyone knows that acupuncture can help a bunch of different problems.
Not everyone knows that.
Someone should tell them.
I think you just did.
So if you'd like to experience top-quality acupuncture at half the price of other places, come visit us at Chicago Community Acupuncture at Milwaukee, Devon, and Nagel. Call 773-853-0920, 773-853-0920, or our website, ChiCom Acu.
Chicomacu.
ChiComacu.com.
Or ChiComacu.com. Chicomacu.
Either way, we'd love to help you. Start feeling better today.
Progressive Insurance with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Investigators in Dallas say the gunman who opened fire on an immigration and customs enforcement facility there hated the government and wanted to incite terror by killing federal agents. One detainee was killed. Acting U.S. Attorney Nancy Larson says they found notes in the gunman's home.
It seems that he did not intend to kill the detainees or harm them. It's clear from these notes that he was targeting ICE agents and ICE personnel.
A source tells the AP the gunman has been identified as Joshua John. He later killed himself. Larson was asked if John had any help.
One of these notes or papers, the sniper explicitly states, yes, it was just me.
At the White House, President Trump was asked about the Dallas shooting.
The radical left is causing this problem, not the right, the radical left. And it's going to get worse, and ultimately it's going to go back on them. I mean, bad things happen when they play these games.
The FBI says it's investigating the shooting as an act of targeted violence. The Trump administration is pitching several other countries on its view that the global system for seeking asylum, in effect since World War II, has been rampantly abused, and urged them to join the U.S. in cracking down on such migration. At the UN General Assembly,
as a symbol of dignity, steadfastness, and being free from the yoke of occupation. Palestine is ours.
Speaking remotely and there through an interpreter, Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas told world leaders his people reject the 2023 Hamas attack on Israel and pledged the militant group would not have a role in governing the Gaza Strip after the war ends. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has summoned hundreds of generals and admirals to a base in Northern Virginia for a sudden meeting next week. No reason was given. More information at apnews.com. This is AP News. A bank robbery in California's Bay Area leads to arrests.
In a brazen daytime robbery, at least 24 people wearing masks and some carrying pickaxes and handguns smashed jewelry cases and made off with bags full of items at a San Francisco Bay Area jewelry store. Video from the Monday robbery shows a stream of people wearing masks, covering their entire faces, entering the jewelry store and then using the pickaxes to crack the glass cases and clear them out. The robbers fled to cars waiting nearby. Officers say they tracked the vehicles from the air and have arrested several suspects. Police say that no one was injured in the robbery. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A new report says despite years of congressional hearings, lawsuits, whistleblowers, and testimony from parents and teenagers about the dangers of Instagram, the widely popular app has failed to protect children from harm.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high in the mid-70s. Winds out of the north around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. And then for tonight, mostly clear with a low around 56. By Friday, sunshine, a high around 80 degrees. Saturday, plenty of blue skies and sun and a high around 83. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 75.
After my wife died, I felt like I lost everything, including my love of fishing. But one day, my granddaughter called, and I realized I still had a lot to look forward to. I got referred to a psychiatrist who explained depression can happen to anyone. Getting help doesn't make me weak. It makes me stronger. I just wish it made me better at fishing.
Mental health care is working for Diego. See what it can do for you at mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
The Thom Hartmann radio program provides all of the intelligence, information, and insight you'll need to win the water cooler wars. Weekdays 11 to 2 right here on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter. This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Now back to Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT 820.
If you're a Thom Hartmann fan in the Chicagoland area, you'll have two opportunities to meet the legendary broadcaster and best-selling author on Wednesday, October 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. That day, Thom and I, Richard Chu, who, by the way, is sitting in for Joan Esposito today, will be co-hosting a labor panel at the Iron Workers Local 63 Training Center in Broadview, Illinois. Then at 7 p.m., Thom will be at Max and Benny's restaurant, one of his favorites, in Northbrook, Illinois, to talk about and sign copies of his new book entitled The Last American President, A Broken Man, a Corrupt Party, and a World on the Brink. Got to sign up for both events, so make sure you go to the Heartland Signal website and click on either of the two Thom Hartmann banners. And speaking of Thom Hartmann and The Last American President, A Broken Man, a Corrupt Party, and a World on the Brink, Thom's on the line with us this afternoon. Thom, welcome to Joan's show, and you know me, I'm sitting in for Joan today. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, Richard, I'm great. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
I can't wait. I told my wife Ann. I said, I'm going to be hanging with Thom on the 15th of October. She's like, really? Where? I said, we're going to be out. I told her the situation. She's like, oh God, and she works during the day, so she can't make it. But yeah. I am looking forward to it. I love it when you and I get to do a union event together. I think what you and I represent is. Here's a guy, actually, ironically, both of us spent much of our formative years in the state of Michigan. But here are two Midwestern guys that understand the importance of unions in our country. And I won't say no matter what your community or culture is or gender, but it matters to all of us as a country that we have strong unions. And, that's one of the reasons that I so appreciate what you do. And you're an unapologetic supporter and advocate of strong unions in the United States of America. And as imperfect as they have been in so many ways, they still have been at the core designed to make and provide a better way for so many employees in the United States of America. So looking forward to hanging with you, my man. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I agree. I grew up in the middle class because my dad was a member of the machinist union. I mean, he worked in a tool and die shop, and I saw it.
You've told the story so many times. Your dad worked because of that union job, he was able to do so many things to further his lifestyle, your lifestyle, education, and the list goes on. So, that's so cool. I have to share a little bit of a story. I mean, I think many people can appreciate this. I know that you can. I was talking with a dear friend of mine that lives just outside of Detroit, and we were talking about, like me, I'm like you, a little bit of the beauty of the history of the things that have taken place in the Midwest and the auto industry and the afterparts businesses and all that it's meant to generations and the resurgence of Detroit and the metropolitan area and some of those great old buildings, Thom, that you may not have had a chance to get back to and see have been relatively well preserved. So I've been telling people, listen, if you want a place to go to kind of see some of America's history economically and socially, make your way to Detroit metropolitan area and see some of the things that have happened to kind of regain a little bit of the luster of that great city.
Yeah, and visit the Art Institute too.
Without a doubt. Well, speaking of art, man, I know your new book is right on the cusp, and I'm excited about it. What brought the title on? Last American President, a broken man, a corrupt party, and the world on the brink. What was in your brain when you said this is the title that I want this book to be? Because it's a compelling title.
Well, Trump has been promising to essentially, reshape America in the image of Putin's Russia or Orban's Hungary. I mean, he doesn't use quite that language, but that's essentially the message, particularly now that he's talking about, you're not allowed to criticize me on television, stuff like that. And so, if America makes that change, then I don't think any future president could be called an American president because America won't be anymore, number one. And number two, he's now pitching his 2028 campaign. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with this.
The party. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I just, apparently some folks on the internet have figured out that on the 24th of every month, Donald Trump is gone all day and sometimes for a couple days. And then he shows up with this bruise on the back of his hand. And so they're wondering, what's being injected into him. And I'm wondering, that there's that billionaire who was using his 17-year-old son's blood as part of his, routine to live forever. And I wonder if Trump is injecting children's blood. What do you think?
Well, see, here's the thing. We go back to the Pizzagate, right? And drinking blood and that whole conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
See, you and I are bad men, Thom. You've got a dark side, too. Don't try to pretend to be Professor Thom that's got it always on the upright. I know you got a dark side. I know you do. Louise has to pull you back from the edge every now and again and say, "Nah, Thom, you can't do that. Can't say that one." My wife is the same way. She's like, "Okay, you can say that here in the house, but you can't say that out in public." But
she just looked it up. Louise just looked it up on ChatGPT. She just said, are there billionaires who are injecting children's blood? I said, yes, there are.
So we aren't crazy, and we aren't as dark as we might think we are. But no, listen, going back to Pizzagate and drinking children's blood. I mean, once again, you said this so many times about projection. A lot of what is coming from Trump and his regime and the right in general is projection of things that they're going to do or are doing. And, want to do. I said this the other day, and I'd like to get your take on it. I think I know where you stand, but I'd rather let you speak it. And that is, we're not sliding. I mean, folks got to stop saying things like we're sliding into autocracy or we're on the precipice of autocracy and authoritarianism. No, we're there. We are there. We are I played a clip last week on my show from Stacey Abrams talking about the 10 points that reference what she believes are indicators of autocracy. And we're there. We're not getting there. The train has left the station, and unfortunately, it's picking up some people that are kind of okay with it, given the number of folks that showed up at this Charlie Kirk, what I like to call Klan rally. So we're there. We're not. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. It's just that it hasn't worked its way down to the level of the average person yet. It's funny. People think that, fascism or autocracy or whatever you want to call it, that you'll know that that's what's happening. Soldiers goose-stepping in the streets in front of your house and dragging off your neighbors in the middle of the night. Well, that actually is happening in Washington, D.C. and L.A. and Memphis, but and probably soon to be happening in Chicago. But the reality is that that you've lost your freedom when comedians can't criticize the president. I mean, it's just like that's your moment when America goes, holy crap, really?
Yeah, there's a number of that are great comedians that are no longer with us, from Lenny Bruce to Richard Pryor and Carlin and everybody in between, that probably rolled over in their proverbial graves last week when this happened, because over the years we had great comedians that kept us kind of focused in a good way from a comedic perspective on our leaders. And oftentimes, the comedians were some of the favored people of elected officials because they kind of knew that, what I did last week or last month was kind of stupid. And they poked fun at me for it, just like one of my guys would in the neighborhood. But we right now, in addition to the autocratic piece and that sort of being where we are, we've got some thin-skinned. And when you talk about a corrupt party, we have some really, really, really thin-skinned Republicans. I mean, and to see the Kamala Harris said this on an interview she was on a few weeks ago about so many things that she said would probably happen. She didn't say them, but I think it was Jimmy Fallon that said it or asked her the question about, the things that she said would happen if Donald Trump were back in the White House. But what she said she was surprised at and is surprised at is the capitulation by so many entities.
The institutional rolling over.
And I am to some extent, but with the colleges and universities that have to some extent, but the businesses. This is kind of my thought on this, Thom, and I kind of put together. I know you're familiar with the Business Roundtable. And
it's the 100 wealthiest CEOs in America, basically.
Right, and the organizations that they run. Now, you and I have done the economic breakdowns of how tariffs / taxes can be used in a way that can be good, but 9 times out of 10, improperly used or implemented, or even the talk of them, is detrimental to the economics of the United States of America, which is bearing itself out. It hasn't completely made itself down to the everyday folk, but it's coming. I'm just surprised, and this is talking about the piece of capitulation. I'm surprised and would like to get your thoughts on this, why these leaders who have to know that the tariffs as they're being used are harmful and will continue to be harmful to their businesses, why they collectively aren't standing up. Because he's trying to pick them off one at a time. He went after Jamie Dimon. He went after, I'm drawing the blank on, Tim Cook. And, why they're not standing up collectively and saying, holding a press conference. Is that too literal to say what the president is doing is wrong for the country?
I think that when you're earning $15-20 million a year, you shift, or 40 or 50 or $100 million a year. You kind of shift your lifestyle into, getting used to flying in the private jet, getting used to having the chauffeur, having a massive mansion, with private security, living on site, and a live-in chef and a live-in masseuse. You get used to that lifestyle, and you realize that if that salary goes away, so does the lifestyle. And I think that a lot of those people just are not willing to they're basically greedy. They're just not, they're not willing to risk it. And that's why, Tim Cook showed up with, a chunk of gold to give to Donald Trump and tell him how wonderful he is, and sat next to him in that round table at the White House. I'd add, by the way, you mentioned comedians. For like 1,000 years in Europe, during the era of kings and kingdoms, there was one person who had absolute legal immunity from offending the king, and that was the court jester. And the reason why was the court jester was the way that the king learned what the average person was saying. Because everybody else lived in fear of the king. Nobody else was willing to tell the king. But this one person had this legal authority to say anything. And that is kind of the tradition these guys are the court jesters of this era. They're telling the truth about the leaders, and they always have. I mean, they used to pick on Joe Biden just as much as they're picking on Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's
just that Trump can't take a joke, and so I think it's important that we remember that.
Yeah, that's a great point, and a good, once again, a history lesson from what I'll call you the doc. So, Thom, one of the things that you spoke about recently, and it's actually in your Hartmann report that you and Louise do such a great job of putting together, and if you guys don't subscribe to or follow the Hartmann Report. You may not be able to always catch Thom on the radio, but make sure that you dig into the Hartmann Report, and the content will help you. I'm all about, Thom, trying to get people or provide people with data and information to be stocked up and solid for a couple of reasons. One, for their own sort of self-worth and self-understanding in this time where there's so much push down on folk. I try to help people be informed and prepared. So that's one of the reasons you guys need to check out the Hartmann Report. The second is so that you're prepared to talk to the knuckleheads in your family on the weekend when you got 2.5 days of dealing with people that are bringing you garbage. Hartmann Report is one of those tools that you guys should have in your bucket of things. So make your way over there. One of the
and it's free.
And it's free. Yeah, exactly. But it's expensive if you don't use it. It's free if you do. If you don't use it, it's costly. There you go. But here's the title of one of Thom's latest pieces. It's Good to Be King, the largest transfer of wealth and power since 1776, and it's going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, Thom. If you
well, this is something that I dive into at great depth in the new book, The Last American President. It's kind of the middle part of the book, and that's how the Lewis Powell in 71. Prior to 71, from the time of the Republican Great Depression up until 71, most business people and very wealthy individuals who were in business had just checked out of politics altogether. I mean, FDR beat them up pretty badly, and they got hurt with the Depression, and so they just thought, we'll just make money. And Powell reached out and said, communism is coming, and these lefties are actually communists, and their plan is to turn America into a communist country, and they're going to federalize everything, and the government will own your business. And, so we've got to get politically active right now, because if we don't, we're going to lose everything. And so you had a bunch of right-wing billionaires who jumped in with both feet and created, state policy centers. There's right-wing think tanks in every single state in the union. There's no left-wing equivalent to that. Mm-hmm. They created national right-wing policy centers, Cato Institute, which used to be the Charles Koch Foundation, the Heritage Foundation, the policy, this one. Yeah, the American Legislative Exchange Council, yeah, for sure. And they bought up 1,500 right-wing radio stations, or flipped them right-wing. They've built 3 television networks. They bought major newspapers, from the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post to the Los Angeles Times and the Washington Post. And they just built this huge right-wing infrastructure messaging machine that literally there's no equivalent of it on the left. And that provided the vehicle to bring Republicans to power, starting with Reagan up until today. And then also, of course, you had the Supreme Court saying that money is speech and corporations are persons. Now that system, that network that was created by these guys, believing that it was their self-defense, it was what would keep them safe from the communists, that's being used to basically turn us into a fascist nation, which is kind of ironic. Yeah. Because I don't think any of those guys in 1971 thought they were signing up for fascism, but that's where we're at. So.
Yeah. And I've asked this. I've sort of made this statement and asked this question, and I'll ask it of you. Then we'll chat a little bit about the book. So if we took the 10 wealthiest progressive liberal Democrats, and we could determine who they are, or mix and match, and some would be in business, some would be in politics, some would be in sports and entertainment, and we kind of know where they are, where they stand when it comes to where we are socially, politically, and economically. And people that come to mind right out of the gate, LeBron James. And then I could list other athletes, and I could list other entertainers, and I could list other business icons. We're to say, you know what, enough is enough, and we're gonna replicate to some extent, or we're gonna go out and create, because of the strength of social media right now, a tool that's going to better inform our people and the other 89 million that didn't vote in this last election of a different way, of a different direction. I know that's a massive wish list, Thom. I know in my heart that if that were to be created, it would start to change the tide. But the question is, in my wish list, how that would come together, how that would happen, who would be the voice that would say, hey, y'all, we got to get together in the parking lot and put together a team of us to push back on this, because at some point, our worth, our effectiveness, our relevance could be diminished if we don't do that. Big wish list, but I would come to you to ask you that question in terms of your thoughts about it. The Thom Steyers of the world, and the list goes on of other people that you've talked about.
Yeah, when Clear Channel was in bankruptcy, they were for sale for $1 billion. I wrote an open letter to Thom Steyer that was published on multiple spots on the internet, saying, "Here's your opportunity, Tom. There's 900 radio stations for sale right now, and you could do some real good." And of course, we reached out to him. He had been on my program before, but we never got an answer, and he never responded. LeBron James and people like him, I suspect, don't think of themselves as being wealthy. I mean, and they're not. I mean, you compare them to Elon Musk, who now owns Twitter, or Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, or Jeff Bezos with the Washington Post. Those guys are genuinely rich. I mean, they're like 700-foot yacht, giant bunker houses in Hawaiian Islands, ready for the apocalypse, rich. And they can spin off $100 million and do something, do a project. I think it's a lot harder for the people. I mean, even Thom Steyer, his net worth was only a little over $1 billion. I think it's a lot harder for people like that. So, but there have been some success stories. I mean, WCPT was started by a real estate billionaire in Chicago. Yep. God bless him, And I don't know if he wants his name out there, but and now you guys are running as a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
A corporation, yeah. And it's just like, so there are some good people who are very wealthy out there who are willing to put their money where their mouth is and do things. We don't have a 21st century Powell memo, as it were. I've thought about writing one often, but I'm not sure that I'm the kind of person who's at the center of things, that could do that. But I suppose I do from time to time with my newsletter, with Hartmann Report.
Well, I'm down to collaborating with you to do it, because I mean I'm not saying that. I mean, I made you laugh, but I'm not BSing you. I'm down to do it because
I know.
And I circling back to how we started this segment in conversation. You and I are Midwestern guys that came up at a certain time in a certain way. You're just a couple years older than me, but the point is we still grew up with that same ethic and that same discipline and belief in what we could have happen for this country. And for me, I look at it and say, why not? What do we have to lose? What we have to lose by not doing something, and I'm not saying you don't, because you do everything, is by not doing something, we can never look back and go, God, I wish we had done X, Y, and Z. So all you have to do is call me or email me and say, Richard, it's time. And, I'm either on a plane, I'm out to Portland, or we'll meet somewhere in the middle and put this doggone thing together, because I believe that's what it takes. People ask me, Richard, what do we do? And I think our voices have to be continually loud and proud, and, making certain that we're reading books like Last American President, A Broken Man, Corrupt Party, and A World on the Brink. What can you tell folks they're going to get? And I don't want to give away the book necessarily, but what is it that...
feel free.
I want to give some copies away, so I'll make sure that we do that. But what is it when you can say to the audience, this is what the book is really trying to talk about, so that people have a little bit of a sense of it?
Well, the book's in three parts. The first third is who is Donald Trump, where did he come from, and why is he behaving like this? And he had a horrible childhood. The second third of it is this giant machine that the Republican Party built that he used and is using today. And then the third part of it is, what do we do about this, and how do we revive American democracy, and how do we bring us back from the brink? And so, what you're going to get out of the book is a lot of history and a hell of a to-do list. So
the to-do list,
hopefully that helps.
Yeah, the to-do list is really important, guys, because so many folks ask about, what can I do? What should I be doing right now? I feel stunted. I feel like we're not going anywhere, and that's the reason that I want you guys to make sure you get copies of the book. Make sure you get some copies for people that you know and you care about, because that's one of the things you can do. Ironically, it's sometimes the smallest stuff, right, Thom, that any one of us can do. That small thing then leads to the next small thing. And before you know it, you got 20 people in your neighborhood and everybody's speaking about how we need to make change. So you can start with any of Thom's books. He's got a library, literally, of them that he's written himself. And make sure that you're making your way over to the Hartmann Report. It's a phenomenal daily rant from Thom, and it's filled with good stuff to get you guys stocked up to deal with the knuckleheads that might cross your path on a day-to-day basis. So, Thom, man, it's always good to talk with you, and I'm looking forward to hanging with you in a few weeks when you're here and getting some union folks pumped up and feeling good about what they do for our country. So thanks for being with us.
Me too, Richard.
All right.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Bye now. Hey, guys, we're going to hit a quick break. That was Thom Hartmann and Richard Chu chatting away about all the good things that Thom does and how we, as progressive liberal Democrats, can do our part. So make sure you check out Thom's show. It's aired here on WCPT daily, Monday through Friday. Of course, his latest book, The Last American President, A Broken Man, A Corrupt Party, and a World on the Brink. And by all means, check out his Substack, The Hartmann Report, for day-to-day information. Maddie B, let's take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. I'm Richard Chu, sitting in for Joan Esposito, and we'll be right back.
Choose Views with Richard Chu.
With us is my good friend Dana Goldberg.
If you're only fighting for communities you belong to, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like if you're only standing up for people that you have everything in common with, what are you even doing?
That's right.
Like that's not what our party is. That's not what progressives and Democrats do. We care about people. That's our superpower is empathy.
It is.
And I know sometimes that can get us into some trouble, but I would rather be that than the other.
Richard Chu. Weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. That's 800-708-3091.
This is a WCPT 820 Heartland Signal News Minute.
We are in the thick of negotiation, and Democrats stand united in asking Republicans to meet us at the negotiating table.
That's Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, Democrat representing the 14th Congressional District of Illinois, speaking to WCPT's Joan Esposito ahead of the September 30th deadline for Congress to fund the federal government.
We have some simple demands. Number one, let's cancel the cuts. Those awful Medicaid cuts that we saw in the big ugly bill, the largest health care cut in history, that is actively harming Illinoisans. And we want to make sure that we can reverse that damage. Number two, we got to lower costs. Like, that is the number one issue on the mind of my constituents for sure. And, Donald Trump campaigned and said that that would be his priority, that he would lower costs on day one. And we're still waiting. And then number three, we want to save our health care.
For WCPT 820 and Heartland Signal, I'm Andy Miles.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 58 degrees and light southwest winds. Friday, sunshine with a high of 81 and light southwest winds. Saturday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. Sunday, sunshine with a high of 76 degrees. On Monday, we'll see sunshine with high temperatures in the mid-70s. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature around 75 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 75.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Don't turn that dial.
A dangerous mistake to make.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, returns right now on WCPT 820.
It was great to have a conversation with Thom Hartmann. And it's just so much that Thom has to say about so many things. And he does it well, whether it's in writing or on his show or when he's at a live event. So for those who want to make it out on October 15th, we're going to be at the Union Hall. And we've got the information on the website, so you guys can check that out. It's going to be at the Local 63 Training Center in Broadview, Illinois. And then later, that's from 3 to 5. And then later that day, Thom will be at Max and Benny's restaurant up in Northbrook, Illinois. So you can make your way to either of those events. Just go to the website, click on either the two Thom Hartmann banners, so you can get that schedule. We're not going to be made to be quiet. We're not going to be shut up. There's obviously the FCC's, trying to bring retribution, but I think our superpower is that folks are going to push back. And what happened last week with Kimmel is an example of that, I believe. Some people say, no, Chew, it's because ABC recognized that their money was being messed with. Either way, if we had sat quietly, Matt, nothing would have happened. So the reasoning for them bringing him back on, okay, we can debate about that. But at the end of the day, they brought him back on. And that was because we had people speaking up. And someone that has been speaking up is Senior Fellow at Media Matters, Matt Gertz, who's with us this afternoon. He probably wasn't expecting the deepness of my voice versus Joan's voice. But Matt, welcome. Welcome to WCPT. Welcome to Joan Esposito's show, Live, Local, and Progressive. And this is me, Richard Chew, the morning host that made it in for my morning show and then made it back to be here this afternoon to sit in for my good friend Joan Esposito. Welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing well.
You are not going to be silenced. And I know that you have been a strong advocate of folks speaking out and talking loudly right now. And I applaud you for that and really focusing on, how the right-wing media machine, and Thom talked about this a moment ago, has been at the center of so much of the misinformation and the wrongness and the drama and, frankly, the $785 million of lies that Fox had to pay for. But you've been one of those voices that's been fighting and pushing hard in this space. Talk a little bit about that and talk a little bit about some of your experiences that you've been having of late.
Well, sure. I think one of the big differences between Donald Trump's first administration and his second so far is that too few people have been willing to fight him. Yep. I think we saw during that first administration the kind of person Donald Trump is and the way that he corrupts everything around himself and that he has these obvious authoritarian impulses. But I think far more of civil society, corporations, and the public were willing to stand up to him and say, that this is just not how things work in America. And this time around, he just hasn't run into the same level of dissent. I think we've seen, from the law firms that, settled with the administration to the news outlets that have paid him off. We've seen a real unwillingness of people to stand up and say, we're not going to take this. We're not going to accept it. I think that what we've seen is that you can win in those cases. I mean, Media Matters ran into an FTC investigation. They tried to shut us up, and we said we're not going to do that. We're not going to accept that. We're going to go to court and we're going to fight it, and we won. And more people in positions of power, when Trump tries to bring down the hammer, need to be willing to say we're not going to do it.
That's exactly right, and I appreciate you saying that. And I remember when Media Matters was in the sites, and you guys said, no, not on our watch, not today. We're not going to be the ones to bend the knee. And if we do lose, it's going to be because we went down fighting. We're not just going to kind of roll over and expose our bellies, to use that phrase. I love the way you put it. It's true. I saw one of your posts. A major difference between Trump 1 and 2 is a lot of people have decided not to fight this time around. And something that Adam Serwer had said. But you're right about that. I mean, a lot of entities, and I guess in some ways, I give a little bit of space and grace for the universities because of the fact that they're built differently. You know, they're schools, and they're trying to be mindful of keeping the peace with the students that they have enrolled at the colleges and universities that have been attacked by the Trump administration. But I love what Senator Chris Murphy said in talking with Linda McMahon about where's the legislation? Legislation is not the right word. Where is it legal in the Constitution? And I can't think of the word, Matt, but you probably know the word I'm thinking of, that gives the Department of Education the legal ability to withhold federal funding. And she couldn't answer the question. She kept trying to redirect it, and he kept coming back and saying, no, just tell me where it is. And she wouldn't answer it, and inevitably what she did, which is what so many Republicans have been doing, is they try to redirect, and then they go and try to make something else, and they try to put it off on another entity or individual, and it didn't work. So, you know, that's part of what the fight's got to be about, is to continue to hammer and to continue to push and let them know, we know that you all are full of BS. And you guys at Media Matters have really done that. I just, you know, other than the universities, every business that they're trying to pimp out, every corporation, every law firm, and the list goes on, gather with your associations in those categories and be ready to fight collectively rather than on their own. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
And, you know, the law firms that fought, that actually took Trump's strong-arming to court, they won.
Yeah.
The media outlets that fought during Trump's first term, they won. You know, I think we're going to see the New York Times fight off Trump's defamation suit in a way that ABC and CBS just didn't try to do. But, I mean, you know, I think what gets lost sometimes, because these are gigantic corporations that own media outlets, and those outlets are just a tiny fraction of their profits. I think what gets lost is, you know, owning CBS News, owning ABC News, owning the Washington Post, owning the LA Times. These are public trusts.
Yep.
You know, they are companies, but they are more than that. They are institutions that are essential for, you know, the maintaining the rights and freedoms that we have in this country. And when you ignore that, when you allow yourself to be extorted by the President of the United States, when you allow yourself to be browbeaten by the chair of the FCC, even when he's acting in an unconstitutional fashion, you are betraying that trust that you have from the public. And, you know, I think we need to bring shame back in cases like this. Like the corporate leaders who are in charge of these companies are incredibly wealthy. They will be fine, regardless of what happens with any of this. And so, you know, you gotta.
It's probably. I asked Thom Hartmann this question a moment ago, and by the way, folks, I'm Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito, and we're talking with senior fellow Matt Gertz from Media Matters for America. Matt, I was talking with Thom, and I said, you know, we've got this entity called Business Roundtable, and I want to get your take on this as well. And it's, you know, the 200. It's roughly 200 business executives from corporations that are household names, from GM to, you know, Cisco Systems to Apple, Exelon, you know, the list goes on, Home Depot, JP Morgan Chase. I'm sitting here thinking, why is it that, to your point, that they don't just rally together and say, listen, yeah, he's the president of the United States, but we run these corporations, and our running of these corporations has a responsibility to our shareholders, to the greater community, more than the dude sitting in the White House that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's failed at business. We've succeeded at business time and time again. Where's their chutzpah to say, no, we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to make it public. We're going to embarrass him by let it be known that he doesn't know what he's doing. And I don't know why. I don't get that, Matt. I don't know if you do, but, if they're not going to do it.
I have a theory.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a theory on this. And my theory is that if Donald Trump were just authoritarian, it would be one thing, but he's also incredibly corrupt. And what each of these individual corporate titans recognizes is that if they can find the right bribe at the right time, he's going to give them whatever they want. So, you have these huge tariffs that are almost certainly illegal and are incredibly expensive for all of these companies in theory, but they know that there are ways to get around that. There are ways to get waivers for all these things, and if they show up and say the right thing at a White House meeting and make the right payment for building a White House ballroom, they can get the carpet rolled out for them. I mean, I think of there was that meeting of tech executives at the White House a few weeks ago, and Mark Zuckerberg promises to donate that he's going to invest $600 billion in the United States, and then it's caught on the live mic, basically saying like, "I thought that would be."
Was that okay?
Like that number? Is that a good number? Yeah. Was that okay? I mean, they know that he just wants you to say a big number that you're going to be like either giving to him or giving to America in some way. None of it needs to actually materialize even. It can be total vaporware. But if you show up and bend the knee, that is what he wants. He wants to show his dominance over the public, over the corporate leaders, over everyone who, as you say, is thinking to themselves, I was a much better businessman than you. But now, you can make a $100 million secret payment into Trump's, crypto company, and he'll be getting paid money, and you can get something out of it on the back end, probably. I mean, the corruption is so deep in this White House, in this administration. There are so many ways to pay people off. And so, if you're the head, if you are trying to get your merger done, if you are the head of Nexstar, and you want to buy a bunch of additional TV stations, which right now would be illegal, you need to get some help from the FCC to do it, then sure, you're going to, if the head of the FCC says, companies should, the affiliate networks should take Jimmy Kimmel off the air, then sure, you're going to do that. Why not? I mean, it's what it takes to get your merger done and make more money. And, you don't really care in any real sense about what that says about the country or, what it says about free speech or the First Amendment. You just want your payday. And I think that's where we've ended up in a lot of these cases. They just would rather do what they need to do to get the payday than stand up for any sense for anything larger.
I would say that one of the tools that could be effective, and this is again me just thinking out of the box with the corporate leaders that are bending the knee or not standing in the way of what's happening, and I appreciate your theory, and it's not too far off from what Thom said, or certainly in the same car. Of they've got access, they want to have continued access. They're already uber wealthy, so they're just looking at it and saying, "How can I further that?" And if I don't want to see I don't want to see anybody messing with my money, so to speak. So how can I do something to further that? So yeah, I would accept your theory on that, but it would be great to be folks at a shareholders meeting that the CEOs of these 200 companies that are part of the Business Roundtable. Where shareholders stood up and said, "Hey, wait a minute. You guys have the opportunity to not bend the knee and to stand up to this guy, but you're not doing it. And as shareholders, we think that you are by default, or maybe not default, but directly shirking your responsibilities as one of your first, responsibilities, and that's to the shareholders of the company, not to the shareholders in your pocket. I don't know. I'm not idealistic, Matt, at all. I'm just looking at it and saying, where's the fight? And you've talked about this in many of your articles and your writings. Where's the fight? Let's strong arm the White House. Let's strong arm, the administration, the regime that's doing all the things doing things it said it wouldn't do, and while not doing things it said it would do. It just baffles my mind sometimes.
But this, I think, is where the public outcry that you were talking about before is very important. Because that, I think, demonstrates to the people that run Disney, the people that run other companies that might consider folding, that there's a downside to that too. That if they try to go along to get along with the administration, then a lot of people are going to cancel their Disney Plus accounts.
Yeah, $4 billion.
Very mean. Yep, and there's going to be a lot of very mean things said about them on, the TV shows that they may watch, on the in the newspapers that they may read. Again, shame is a powerful force. These people would like to think of themselves in a positive light, and the more criticism they see for folding like this, I think the more pressure there is for them to stand up. There's the more, it's a way to try to give them some backbone. But yeah, I think the shareholders angle is also a good one. I think we're seeing right now a bunch of shareholders come out and demanding the details of Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, and how that all came about. And I think that is good and important. I think we're also seeing, from Congress, a series of efforts to get Sinclair and Nexstar to explain, what their dealings were with the FCC around all of this. Again, this is all about creating a countervailing force to the Trump administration, where there are downsides to giving them what they want in addition to upsides. I think that is going to be crucial as we try to prevent what seems to be, I would say, the biggest threat to free speech in the United States in decades.
There's no question about it. I've been around long enough to agree with you based on what my experiences have been in that space. You're absolutely right. And sorry, Matt.
I mean, this makes Ari Fleischer saying that Bill Maher needs to, and we all need to watch what they say and watch what we do. I mean, this is just like orders of magnitude beyond that.
Way beyond that. And nobody remembers that. Yeah, I mean, this is threat 2.0 and then some. But this is kind of the way that I look at this thing with regard to shareholders and companies and boards of directors and CEOs and all the rest. I mean, Mary Barra is the chair and CEO of General Motors. Next time, if you're a shareholder of GM stock, the next time there's a meeting that you can attend, show up and ask her, what the hell are you doing or not doing to push back? Tim Cook with Apple. Apple's got a new phone coming out. I'd be, if I'm an Apple user and I'm a progressive or just a moderate American, I would be like, what the hell are you doing sitting there bending the knee to Donald Trump? I'm not buying your phone, your new phone. How many Apple users, you and I are kind of extrapolating here. How many Apple phone users or Apple product users are there out there that if they said, you know what, Tim, we're not buying the next whatever because of the way in which you went in and embarrassed yourself with the White House, how much impact would those things have? Adina Freeman with NASDAQ, and the list goes on. I've got the list right here in front of me. Let's say to Eli Lilly, to David Ricks, you know what? We know you've got a new drug coming out, but we're not interested in it until you decide to go and show the president that you're not going to be bullied. Same thing with Christopher Nassetta at Hilton. When the shareholders should be willing to say, listen, until you get your act right, staying in your hotels or the society in general is not going to be the thing that we do. I know that's a push. It's a big wish. But I guess I just want to see us as Americans fight back and push back and do the things that you're doing at Media Matters and writing the way in which you're writing to keep people aware of what's out there and things that they can be doing to affect some change. I mean, I come from that perspective sometimes. We have to keep fighting, and I appreciate the work that you're doing in that space. What else you got going on, Matt Gertz? What else are you working on right now? Any hot new articles you want to share with us in advance, or anything that you're going to give us a sneak peek on?
Well, I think that my big push over the last week and a half since this Jimmy Kimmel story started to move was to focus attention not just on Brendan Carr, who is obviously a malevolent force in all of this, but on Donald Trump himself, because I think what often gets lost in the right-wing debates on this, and this is very strange, is they are willing to criticize people like Brendan Carr or Pam Bondi when they make comments suggesting curtailing free speech. But they won't go further to point out that Donald Trump is the source of all of this. He does not believe that speech that criticizes him is legitimate. He makes it incredibly clear over and over again that he wants all of that to stop, that he would prefer to live in a world in which all media looked like Fox News with the same sort of propagandistic viewpoint of his administration. And, he is more than willing to use state power for that end. And everything else flows from that. He's appointed people to run these regulatory agencies who believe as he does and look for ways to exploit the different avenues that they have to kind of cudgel these companies into line. And it's coming from the top. It's not sort of a sideshow. It is the sort of one of the main focuses of the Trump administration. And part of it is that he's been much better this term at picking people who are willing to carry out whatever he orders, as we're seeing in the Justice Department right now with these potential indictments of, John Bolton and Comey and so on and so forth. Yeah. And at FCC as well. So it is a perilous time, I think. But I think we can take away from the fact that Jimmy Kimmel was back on TV this week, that it is not a futile fight, that we can push back against this, because, look, the American public does not want comedians banned from the airwaves because they say mean things about Donald Trump. This isn't September of 2021. It's not September of 2001. Right. Where Ari Fleischer is talking about people needing to watch what they say and watch what they do. And at the time, George W. Bush has an 80% approval rating and is wildly popular because of his response to 9/11. People don't like Donald Trump. Nope. And they don't want him dictating what we're allowed to say and what we're allowed to do. And I think the administration, to some extent, realizes that they got caught on this one, that they touched the hot stove and got burned over it. Yeah. And I think we'll try to change the subject as much as they can. But the public doesn't want Donald Trump being the arbiter of comedy in this country. They want prices to go down. They want things to not be so expensive. He doesn't have any plans for that. He has plans for punishing his enemies and keeping comedians off TV.
I go back to something that Vice President Harris said. He will be on a retribution tour, coming after the media, coming after businesses, and the like. And so, unfortunately, she was right about that. But, Matt, we got to wrap up, man. It's great to have you on. I know that Joan was going to be with you today, but she's just getting her oars back in the water in terms of getting healthy. But thank you for taking the time to be on the show today. I got to have you on my show in the morning. It's a little earlier than this. It's at 6 o'clock Central Time, but we'll figure out how to get you on and wake you up and send you a coffee injection so you can bring your great knowledge and experience to us from Media Matters. And we really appreciate all the hard work that you put in as a senior fellow there. It matters to us, and we hope that you continue with the hard work that you're doing.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
All right, Matt, be well. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye. Maddie B, let's take a little bit of a break. You're listening to Richard Chew. I'm sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. The number is 773-763-9278. When we come back, we'll be talking with Brooklyn dad Defiant on a whole bunch of cool things that he's working on and just the work that he puts in terms of some of his political humor. This is Richard Chew again, sitting in for Joan Esposito. We will be right back.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the midst of World War II, a group of Native American soldiers known as the Code Talkers became silent heroes. The U.S. military faced challenge of secure communications on the battlefield, and these men, primarily from the Navajo tribe, were enlisted to develop an unbreakable code. Using their native language, which had no written alphabet, they transmitted vital messages that were indecipherable to enemy forces. The code proved to be an essential asset, particularly in the Pacific Theater, where it helped the Allies win crucial battles. The Code Talkers' courage and ingenuity saved countless lives and turned the tide of the war. Yet, their contributions remained largely unknown until decades later. The legacy of the Code Talkers stands as a testament to the strength, resilience, and invaluable service of Native Americans during one of America's most devastating conflicts. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
WCPT will be broadcasting a live in-person Union Strong panel on Wednesday, October 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. And you're invited. Join me, Thom Hartmann, and WCPT's morning host, Richard Chew, at the Ironworkers Local 63 Training Center in Broadview. Panelists include Paul Wendy from Ironworkers Local 63, Rob Fulton from Riggers Local 136, Cliff Horowitz from Horowitz & Associates, Andy Rico from IBEW Local 176, and Tom Villanova from Southland Friends of Labor. This event is proudly sponsored by Ironworkers Local 63, Riggers Local 136, Horowitz & Associates, IBEW Local 176, and Southland Friends of Labor. Wednesday, October 15th from 3 to 5 p.m., Ironworkers Local 63 Training Center, 2523 Lexington Street in Broadview. That's just off the 25th Street exit on the Eisenhower Expressway. All listeners must register to attend this free event at WCPT820.com. Just click on the banner.
This fall, experience Revolutions, a raw, groundbreaking new musical like nothing you have ever seen. I'm Tom Morello. I'm fired up to share the music I wrote for Revolutions during the Goodman's 100th season. Created by Chicago playwright Zayd Dorn and myself, it's about a young artist fighting to be heard, where resistance, rage, and love collide. Join us for an intimate punk, metal, hip-hop explosion you will not forget.
Revolutions runs October 4th through November 9th. Get tickets at goodmantheater.org.
This update is brought to you by IHOP. Go to your happy plates with the $6 IHOP value menu, available every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Federal officials are outlining what they believe to be the motives of the gunman who opened fire on an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Dallas yesterday. Lisa Dwyer reports they're saying he
hated the U.S. government and wanted to incite terror by killing federal agents.
He also hoped his actions would give ICE agents real terror of being gunned down. And he did this to induce constant stress in their lives.
Acting United States Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Nancy Larson.
They found bullets on the rooftop, one of which was labeled with the words anti-ICE.
Larson says that some of the notes found included foul language expressing his hatred towards ICE. One note also says
he called the ICE employees people showing up to collect a dirty paycheck.
In another note,
the sniper explicitly states, yes, it was just me.
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
No ICE personnel were hurt in the shooting. One detainee was killed and 2 others wounded. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has summoned hundreds of generals and admirals to a base in Northern Virginia next week. No reason yet offered for the gathering. Amazon's reached a $2.5 billion settlement with the Federal Trade Commission over allegations it tricked customers into signing up for its Prime memberships and then made them difficult to cancel. Starbucks says it's closing hundreds of stores in the U.S., Canada, and Europe and laying off 900 non-retail employees so it can focus resources on its turnaround plan. A dramatic upgrade to the government's estimate of second-quarter economic growth. The Commerce Department says GDP expanded at a 3.8% annual pace, rebounding from a 0.6% first-quarter drop. And stocks closed lower for a third straight session, the S&P and the Nasdaq down 0.5%. The Dow lost nearly 174 points. This is AP News. A former president of France headed to prison. Karen Chamas has details.
A Paris court has sentenced former French President Nicolas Sarkozy to 5 years in prison for criminal conspiracy. The court found him guilty of attempting to finance his 2007 campaign with funds from Libya. Sarkozy, who is 70, will be incarcerated even if he appeals. He's denounced the ruling as a scandalous injustice and plans to appeal. He said, hatred truly knows no bounds, but added, if they absolutely want me to sleep in prison, I will sleep in prison, but with my head held high. The court also found 2 of his former ministers guilty of criminal association. I'm Karen Chamas.
And in the Baltic Sea, a submersible has spotted crabs, worms, and fish thriving on top of World War II warheads that have been thought to be toxic to marine life. There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 58 degrees and light southwest winds. Friday, sunshine with a high of 81 and light southwest winds. Saturday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. Sunday, sunshine with a high of 76 degrees. On Monday, we'll see sunshine with high temperatures in the mid-70s. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature around 75 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 73.
Hey, where's Hal Sparks? I'm not sure where he is now, but I know where you can find him Saturdays at 11. He'll be right here on WCPT 820 for the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT 820.
Yeah, guys, we're back, and this is not Joan Esposito. I'm Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive here on WCPT AM 820, and you can give us a holler, 773-763-9278. Going to open the lines up again after our next guest is on. Next month, Chicago's Goodman Theater will be debuting a brand new show, Revolution. It's a punk, metal, hip-hop musical with music and lyrics by Thom Morello of Rage Against the Machine and additional lyrics by the likes of Big Boy, Killer Mike, and Chris Stapleton. You might want to check that out. Revolutions tells the story of Hampton Weems, a soldier and aspiring musician who comes home from Afghanistan and finds the south side of Chicago is also occupied territory, and he's accidentally joined the resistance. You can learn more and buy tickets by visiting goodmantheater.org, or right now you can call in here at WCPT and win a pair of tickets from WCPT, 773-763-9278. The second caller gets tickets. Again, 773-763-9278. We'll grab your calls as best we can between all of us that are here doing what we got to do. So you might hear a couple different voices getting your information. Contests running, of course, on WCPT 820 are open to listeners 18 or older and residents of the greater Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area. One entry per person, one winner per household, void where prohibited by law. Listeners may only win or qualify to win once every 30 days. Complete rules are available on our website at WCPT820.com by clicking the contest tab. We might give you another reminder before the end of the show today. All right. Matt Gertz was great to have on from Media Matters, and of course Thom Hartmann prior to that. And it's great to have calls from you guys, so we'll try to make sure we navigate all that today. If you hear a little background noise, that's Matt getting the information for callers, so don't worry. But we want to bring on a voice that's just really, really had a lot to say in these last couple of years, and particularly so since the convention last year. I would say that his stock has risen significantly. His name, as I like to say, the name that mom and daddy gave him is Majid Padellan. He is also known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Brother Majid, welcome to WCPT, Joan Esposito show, and I'm sitting in, of course, for Joan Esposito. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. I normally run my show in the mornings from 6 to 8 a.m. And they said, Richard, we'd like you to sit in for Joan. She's getting healed and feeling a little bit better. So here we are. It's so great to have you on and to talk with you. I've been following you for a long time on all the socials. You show up pretty much everywhere, and you've always got something compelling to say in your observations and your humor when it comes to what's happening in our society, in our world today. I love one of the things that I saw on one of your socials. I forgot which one it was now. Proud Papa, perpetually PO'd.
Yeah, it's either it could have been my Twitter profile or my Instagram, or I pretty much put that as my header across the board on Blue Sky and all that stuff. But I'm pleasantly surprised that you found something to laugh at on my feed, because these days I've been a little bit bitter.
Yeah.
Not even just bitter, just I don't know, disappointed would be a word. Alarmed would be another word. I've got plenty of adjectives, and not many of them are good.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm going to say, Brooklyn, that I think you and I would agree with is folks need to fight. This acquiescence is garbage. You come from a community and from a stock of folk that fought and fought to make sure that not only were you here, but that you got to stay here and that you got to be one that had a voice and have influence to the extent that you could. And, I'm tired of seeing people, both elected officials and business leaders and all the rest, kind of acquiescing. And I'm not saying everybody, but nobody should be. And everybody's got their own set of circumstances. But that's probably, as Vice President Harris said, she listed out the things that she knew would happen with Trump being back in office and the GOP being back in leadership. But what she didn't anticipate was the acquiescence. And that probably has me more frustrated than anything. It's like, come on, y'all, we got to fight. What are your thoughts there, man?
I saw that interview with Kamala Harris, and it left me with a tinge of sadness. I was like, come on, America. Every time I think about, who we could have had in the Oval Office, it really upsets me. But what stuck out to me from her interview was when she was talking about how the titans of industry, these people who, so when I used to talk with my friends about, we should sue such and such company, the understanding was always you couldn't win against those massive corporations because they had long money.
Right.
They had money to keep you tied up in court for years. And so that's what was so astonishing, how easily they folded.
I know. They get that long.
They just crumpled.
It's like Samuel Jackson said, and they got that long paper. And you would think.
Yeah.
You would think. Because I had the same conversation with folks in my universe. When we would look at a situation, we go, you know what, that company we have to go after. I mean, and let's be honest, when the citizenry goes after companies for their malfeasance, typically those companies, if they're on the wrong side of it, let's look at the tobacco industry. Let's look at the oil industry. The citizenry.
They'll pay you off.
They will, but remember how many times the citizenry, by bringing attention to it, they won. So, I'm with you in that.
We're talking about those are class action lawsuits where they have like a bunch of people kind of, working with one law firm that goes after a corporation for something big. Like what was that? What was that reporter that Julia Roberts movie?
Pelican Brief.
Pollution.
Pelican Brief.
No, the other one. There was the name.
Yes, she was the. I know what you're talking
the
about.
Woman's name.
It's drawn.
It escapes me. I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sitting at my desk.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can see her right now. But I know what you're talking about. Who the movie and all that. But that's the kind of energy that I'd like to see these corporations, to your point, exercise when it comes to this dude. But I asked Matt Gertz, who was on with us before, and Thom Hartmann, who was on prior to that, what their thoughts are, and they both kind of have the same universe of what they think is the reason why is that these CEOs, these titans, got so much money and that they don't want to take the risk of that money being messed with. But that's a personal thing. It's not the corporations, because the corporations stand behind, it should be standing behind and standing with the shareholders. But we aren't seeing that kind of energy right now, and that's it's shameful. So I'm with you in that space in terms of what the vice president had to say. You've got
Aaron Brockovich.
There you go. See, I can't be looking stuff up because I end up messing something up in the process. So, tell us about your one of your latest writings, The Bigliest Loser. Talk about that political humor piece.
Okay, so that one is a bittersweet project I worked on. That was the sequel to the first one, which was The Littlest President, LIDDLE apostrophe EST. And the reason for that spelling is because Donald Trump, during his first term, was kind of going after Adam Schiff. Going after Adam Schiff in a way where every time he tweeted about him, he would refer to him as Liddle, LIDDLE, Adam Schiff. And I thought, you know what? Like, this is so outrageous. The stuff that is going on during his first term, I have to write about it because, no one's going to believe it in the future. So I wrote it in a children's book format, so it's like landscape and it's a hardcover and you turn the page and the way the words, the way I have the words formatted, it's very much like a children's book, but it's actually everything that happened during the first term. It's insane, except for the fact that he didn't end up in prison.
Yeah.
So The Bigliest Loser picks up where the first one left off, and again, it's less of a fiction and it's more of like a blow-by-blow account of the insane things that happened between 2021 and 2024. And sadly, I predicted that Kamala Harris was going to win. And so, that was a big swing and a miss.
Yeah.
But it was a great book, beautiful illustrations, gorgeous illustrations. I'm extremely proud of it, except for the fact that I got the ending wrong. But, you can't win them all.
Well, but I think the win and the littlest excuse me, is quite a good read as well. You guys should check it out. I love the character name Spanky McDumbass. And you go point for point, blow for blow, basically, as we will say, Simonizing the president, meaning in this case Donald Trump. So it's.
Can I tell you the origin of the name Spanky McDumbass?
Please do.
So he was interviewed during his first term. No, not him. Stormy Daniels was interviewed by 60 Minutes. Yeah.
Yep.
And I forget who it was specifically that interviewed her, but they asked about that infamous scene where she explained that he liked to be spanked with a rolled up magazine with his face on the cover.
Yeah.
And so hence Spanky was born. And I was, calling him Spanky ever since then. Yeah.
Listen, man, this is where humor and comedy is such good medicine for all of us, because there's nothing better than a roll back hand clap belly laugh with something that's just good fun. And in this case, it speaks to the humor is in the honesty that we actually have this horrible, absolutely horrible person occupying the White House for yet another time. I've said this so often, Brooklyn, that
gotten worse.
What's that?
He's gotten way worse this time around, and I guess part of it is because he doesn't have the guardrails around him. At least in his first cabinet, there were some people who kind of, sort of, they had the prestige under their belt. They had that gravitas where if they leaned on, if he said, I want you to shoot these protesters in the legs, they'd be like, well, we really shouldn't, Mr. President. And they would really push back hard. And when you look at his cabinet today, it's a bunch of what's Pete Hegseth? He was a weekend host of Fox News, got tattoos all over himself. He's 30-something years old. He's an alcoholic, which, look, I'm not hitting him for his alcoholism that he will not admit to. But, I myself, I'm in recovery for 22 years now. I'm 22 years clean and sober. So I know about the struggle and the challenge of getting clean and staying clean. But you have to first admit that you have a problem in order to address it. And he hasn't even admitted that. Anyway, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, who always looked like the deer in headlights, all these guys, Kristi Noem, Miss Cosplay, puppy shooter.
Yeah.
All of these people, they are not qualified. RFK Jr.,
Linda
they're
McMahon.
not qualified.
Did you see the interview with
she is
her?
The A1.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. The person that is to head the thing that makes us smarter or participates in the process of helping to make us a smarter society is as dumb as a box of rocks and has no qualification.
Yeah.
Listen, Majid,
She thought AI was A1.
Right. And listen, man, no disrespect. And by the way, we're talking with Majid Padellan, Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Now that I got that out of the way, let me just say this. No disrespect to you, but I would put more money and faith in your ability to go in and be the head of the Department of Education than Linda McMahon. Because you would at least come from a position. I mean, how many books has she written? First of all. But you would at least come from the position that whatever I do, I don't want to do any harm to any of us when it comes to learning and fostering an environment for learning. You would probably start there. I got to believe in my heart.
I'm going to tell you my leadership style is this. And I have been a leader before, in limited capacity, but nonetheless, I have been a leader. And my belief is that when you don't know something, when you have a blind spot, you have to have people around you who can identify those blind spots. You have to have experts, people who know more than you about the things that you're supposed to know.
Yep.
And so Donald Trump, by putting critical positions in the care of buffoons, he has abdicated his responsibility as the leader of this country. You want to put us in a position to succeed. Like when I see, when I think about the FBI, for instance, they're the people who are supposed to keep us safe. I don't want him to fail.
Right.
I need him for my peace of mind. I don't even want to have to think about, how qualified is this dude? He seems like a clown when you see him in those congressional hearings. The same thing goes for RFK Jr. Like we're not that far removed from a deadly pandemic, and you have a guy here who's questioning the efficacy of measles vaccines and Tylenol. Like what? Why are we debating Tylenol?
Yeah.
For crying out loud. What? Come on now.
And here's the chronological math in terms of the disease versus the medication. To say that Tylenol has contributed to this illness is absolute. I mean, this is where, and I hate this. Autism. I shouldn't say it this way. I don't want to say I hate to say this, but let me position it this way, Majid. You know, we've got people out there that are so willing to bury their heads in the sand. I talked about this morning on my show and earlier in sitting in for Joan today, that they're not even capable or willing to do the research to see that this condition existed before Tylenol was a medication on the shelves. So, so just think about that for a second. When I hear people say every now and again how far gone we are, I think about it from the standpoint of common sense. And my wife gets on me about this the right way all the time. She's like, you know what, Richard, you got to remember, it ain't common. So she's right about that because, you know, I mean, she's spot on right, man. but and I can laugh at myself about it because I try to look at it and say, autism. I think 1918 maybe, or I could be wrong on the date, but it was well before Tylenol was even on the market, in the marketplace, on the shelves. But yet we've got these knuckleheads, to your point, that are not capable, that are mediocre at best, doing the job that is designed to help prevent people from having further illness, to resolve illnesses that they currently have, or certainly abate the illnesses and the conditions that they have. We got a knucklehead and his boss heading that organization. And, you know, you're right. Your leadership style is spot on. He put people in place that wouldn't challenge his stupidity and his mediocrity so that he could walk around still believing and trying to get other people to think that he's the smartest, bestest ever on the planet. And in fact, he's the opposite of that. So here we are. Man, it's been great talking to you today. I'm so thankful that you would set aside some time and chat. And I know I made you laugh a few times, and I have affectionately as a brother teased you a little bit. But man, you bring the heat with what you post. I'm so glad that you're a proud papa that's perpetually PO'd. That's some alliteration if there ever was some. What else are you working on these days, man? What else is keeping you busy?
So I have a Substack. I was a little late to the party with this Substack thing.
Me too.
It's an incredible community, and Substack is basically if you're a writer and you have something to say, there's no rules or regulations other than just, get your write on and post it and let people see what you're thinking. So my latest Substack was about the whole Jimmy Kimmel episode, and specifically it's titled Trump's FCC Goon Squad Failed to Cancel Kimmel. Here's why. And inside the outrage-fueled victory that proved free speech still matters. And free speech, man, you want to get my hackles up? Challenge my free speech. Challenge my right to say whatever the heck I feel I need or want to say. Because, look, when I was growing up, I remember seeing Ku Klux Klan groups marching down the street. And I was like, why? Yeah, I already heard about what they had done with the burning of the crosses and blowing up the churches and the hangings. Why are these people allowed to march in the street with all their hatred? And it's because of the First Amendment. Yep. So if the most reprehensible people in our society are allowed to espouse their hateful views, then why is the government, why is the government leaning on a late night talk show host because the president got his little feelings hurt about some jokes he's been telling? That's it.
That's man.
It. It's so pathetic.
Thin skin. I mean, every time there's something that happens around this dude, there's a cowering part of it. And he continues to actually, that's what he represents. He doesn't really represent the so-called strength that he's trying to present. And neither does the GOP. The party itself, elected officials or people that are part of this administration or regime, they're all the same. State representatives, same thing. So we have the opportunity, I believe, is to keep pushing back and to keep fighting and to do the work to know what's truth and what's not truth, what's real versus fiction. Yeah. And so you've been a champion of that, And all I can tell you a lot of things, but one of the things I'll tell you as we wrap up is keep on keeping on and keeping the fight. We got you back here. Got to get you on my show. Got to wake you up real early in the morning and have you on one of these mornings.
Facetious.
Yeah.
Hey, for you,
Yeah.
Richard, I'll get up early for you, but I'm not a morning guy.
I understand.
But I'll get up for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Majid, Padellan, also.
Can I share my website?
I was just getting ready to say, tell people how they can find you.
BrooklynDadDefiant.com is where you can get your copies, autographed copies of The Littlest President and The Bigliest Loser. And you can find me on Substack as Brooklyn Dad Defiant, Twitter, not so much Instagram, but definitely Blue Sky, and yeah, reach out if you want somebody to. If you're looking for somebody who's throwing fireballs at the establishment, that's me. Not literally, but figuratively.
Figuratively, I get it.
Let's tone down that political rhetoric. Okay,
Yeah.
that is figurative.
That's right. Brooklyn Dad, thanks for being with us, man. I appreciate you taking time out today. Our listeners do all over the country. We'll talk with you soon, and appreciate you. Stay safe, okay?
Thank you. You as well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon. Bye now. Wow. Another breath of fresh air. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Check him out on many of the socials, not all of them, but many of the socials, and check out his writing. He's a funny dude with a great sense of humor, and also very plugged into the issues that we all should be talking about and aware of. We are going to take a break. The number is 773-763-9278. I'm Richard Chu from Chu's View, sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive here on WCPT AM 820. We'll be right back. Hey, progressives, it's Richard Chu, host of Chu's Views, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. here on WCPT. I want to let you know that one of our leading progressive voices, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, will be my guest the first Friday of each month at 7:30 a.m.
There are so many people who want to understand how decisions are made, and there are many people who want to know that they are included in those decisions.
Mayor Brandon Johnson, the first Friday of every month on Chu's Views here on WCPT.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. Are you looking to get that new computer so you can do great things like surf the web, find Heartland Signal, and stream WCPT? Let's look at some computer companies that support the Democratic Party. Lenovo donates $56,000 to the Democratic Party in 2024. That's 89% of their donations. While Hewlett-Packard, or HP, donated $383,000 to the Democratic Party, as well 89% of their donations went to Democrats. Apple donated $4,701,347 to the Democratic Party. Microsoft donated $5,397,633 to Democrats in 2024, while Sony donated $1,268,000 to the Democratic Party in 2024. That was 95% of their donations, everybody. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
Save big money on your interior stains and finishes now at Menards. Provide exceptional color to your staining project with Minwax Color Series. It applies evenly and dries fast with just one coat. Get a quart of Minwax Color Series wood stain in over 240 colors on sale now through September 28th. Save big on Minwax wood stains. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Fall is here and colder nights are on the way. Is your home ready to stay warm and energy efficient? Green Attic is Chicagoland's trusted expert in attic insulation, spray foam, crawl space encapsulation, and mold remediation, solutions that seal in comfort and cut down on high heating bills. If your upstairs feels drafty or your heating system is constantly running, your attic may be to blame. Their team helps balance temperatures and reduce energy waste from the top down. They also offer full-service roofing through Green Attic Roofing, covering asphalt shingles, flat roofs, premium roofing solutions, and solar panels. Every project comes with a 10-year labor warranty and instant online estimates to help homeowners replace aging roofs before winter sets in. With over 15 years of experience and over 1,000 5-star reviews, Green Attic delivers real comfort season after season. Visit greenattic.com for a free installation consultation or go to greenatticroofing.com for an instant roofing estimate today.
I'm Jessica Ettinger, CNBC. Wall Street in the red this afternoon. Major averages all lower. The Dow down 173 points, led lower by shares of drug maker Amgen. They were down almost 3%. The S&P 500 index down 33 points, 0.5%. Its fourth losing day in a row and its longest losing streak in a month. The NASDAQ was down 113 points today, down 0.5%. NVIDIA shares were in the green, up by 0.4%. 3 days into a trial, the Biden administration case against Amazon, accusing it of tricking customers with its Prime Members program, making it easy for them to sign up without realizing it, and then making it hard for them to cancel. Well, the Trump administration's Federal Trade Commission has settled with Amazon for $2.5 billion, some of that going to customers. Jessica Ettinger.
Hear the CNBC business updates each weekday at 9:30, 12:30, and 4:30. Now, your WCPT 820 Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 58 degrees and light southwest winds. Friday, sunshine with a high of 81 and light southwest winds. Saturday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. Sunday, sunshine with a high of 76 degrees. On Monday, we'll see sunshine with high temperatures in the mid-70s. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature around 75 degrees. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 73.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Don't turn that dial.
A dangerous mistake to make.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, returns right now on WCPT 820.
Hey guys, this is Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Great conversation with Majid, also known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant. Funny, and great to hang with him. Thom Hartmann as well, and Matt Gertz from Media Matters. So great, wonderful guests, and we appreciate them being with us. Well, you know what? Let's try to grab some calls in this last half hour. Let's go to Nancy in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Hey, Nancy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Boy, I'm glad I listened today.
Why?
I really like Brooklyn Dad.
Isn't he great?
He's great. And finally, someone saying what I've been screaming about forever.
What's that?
I mean, this is about this whole situation. How did we get here? We got here because our so-called representatives allowed this to happen. I don't care what anybody says. If they would have had... Instead of us living under I'm writing a book, The Illusion of Democracy, because I don't believe we've ever really had true democracy in this country, but that's a whole other story. I could take up your whole 3 hours with that. But, the fact that the 34-time felon adjudicated rapist was actually allowed to desecrate our White House, not once, but twice. This is BS.
Yep.
This is a lot of BS, and it's because of our undemocratic two-party system that we've been following since the 1700s, which hasn't changed. The main stuff, the basic stuff, has not changed at all. Women are still second-class citizens. The minorities are, forget that. We don't have equal representation. And, they've been screaming about fixing, gerrymandering and filibustering and all the other ings and everything, and they haven't done a thing. And I've been voting for over 50 years. I'm an old person. They are still screaming and crying about the same stuff they told me 50 years ago that they were going to fix. And the main one, the one that's been driving the whole system in the first place, we're going to get money out of politics. Talk about BS. Capital B, capital S.
Capital B, capital S.
It's worse than ever. The billionaires are controlling our government now. And we have a moron in there who's... And since when does our democracy allow one person to just change everything?
Well,
one person to just... Even in our Congress, one person could stand up and stop the whole system from running.
Yeah.
This is BS. They haven't fixed anything in 200 years.
Yeah, Nancy, believe me, I hear you loud and clear, and I know that the fixes are achievable. But one of the things that we have to be willing to do is to acknowledge that some things are broken, and a lot of people won't speak that kind of truth. And as a result, we keep doing the same things over and over again. Some of it's a change.
Right. You know what they call that?
Yeah, I do. The insanity statement. Keep doing the same thing, expecting things are going to be different, is a form of insanity. But one of the things that I'll say to this is that we keep electing people that are not getting things done. We have to change that. We have to be willing to also, as I said earlier in the show, and I say often, take our heads out of the sand and get uncomfortable. That's one of the things, Nancy, people aren't willing to get uncomfortable.
I agree with that, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. That's all right. We got a little bit of time today. We're trying to get everybody in before the end of the show. But from the top of what you said, Nancy, I hear you, and that's why I do what I do, or try to do what I do with my show, and of course when I get to sit in for Joan and hang out with anybody else. It's just to keep pushing the conversation that we have to fight. We cannot stay comfortable. Staying comfortable is a recipe for further disaster.
I agree that most people will say, "Oh, I'm not going to bother with politics," and all that stuff. But the thing is, they've been doing this forever. This didn't just happen in the last 10 years when the felon showed up.
No, it did not.
This has been going on forever. And all the rumors they had about him, that he was, he's not a good businessman. He's supposedly the Manchurian candidate, and that was going on since the 80s. And they still allowed him to get into our White House, which is now
here's the thing, Nancy. Here's the thing that I'm going to say, and then I'm going to have to let you go to get to another caller. The voters have got to stop sitting back and not participating. We had 89 million. We had 89 million people in this last general election that did not vote. Okay,
right.
So
and I agree with you.
That's got to change. And
I know, but can I say one thing?
Go for it.
And
we got to go.
This is what really bugs me. They continue to turn around and screw it up, and then turn around and blame the voters. We don't have enough voters out there voting because they make it as hard as possible.
True.
They haven't changed anything in I don't know how long. And then voter suppression. I do not hear that from the Democrats. They don't even fight it.
Well, that voter suppression and voter disenfranchisement is also a huge part of this. I acknowledge that all the time. I'm not blind to that. I recognize that. But 89 million people did not get suppressed out of voting. That's a fact.
No, they didn't get suppressed.
But they may have gotten.
They haven't been changing anything. They haven't made it easier over the years.
Nancy, I look in the mirror every day and I say, what am I going to do differently and better? I understand what you're saying about those that are elected have to do better. But we as voters cannot sit back and say, there's nothing I can do. We have to be.
I know, but
there's no but to that, Nancy. There's no but to that.
I know, but we also don't have the voice we used to have. They took away our voice when they took away the media. Because now media is corporate owned. We're not controlling any of that anymore.
That was a major mistake in the late 80s and early 90s. Absolutely. Yeah. Nancy, we got to go. I got to grab another call. Thank you for your contribution. All right. Have a good one, man. All right.
You too.
Let's go to Paul in Seattle. Paul, sorry about that, man. I wanted to get to you. I want to get to everybody before we wrap up today. What's happening, my man?
Hey, Rich. Caught you on the early morning shift, and just some things came to mind. But I want to parse some words here. And the good news for Nancy is, and all y'all, is we don't have to keep saying the word adjudicated rapist, okay? We don't have to keep modifying the rapist with adjudicated. A rapist is a rapist. We don't have to distinguish between the criminal form and the civil form. He's a rapist. So can we just all wipe off the and adjudicated rapist, just and rapist, convicted criminal and rapist? Okay.
Yep.
That's all we have to say. That's it. So we're free now, because when we equivocate, it destroys our message.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it does. It takes by 40%, and then people go, "Oh, that's just chill, huh?" And I guarantee you that most people don't even know what the hell the word adjudicated means. So leave it off. Okay. So. This is what I heard you say this morning, and this is and I'm not coming down on you.
I know where you're coming from. I'm with you. I got you.
So you're saying, whenever you want to talk about race, people say, "Oh, you're playing the race card, right?" And so, like, I'm on my my workout machine, and a lot of times when I listen, I'm kind of parroting the conversation, like what you're saying, and then what the other person would say. The race card. And what came to my mind this morning is, I just wanted to say, because we've heard this so many times, I want to say to that person, and what is the race card? What is that? What do you mean the race card? What does it look like? Okay, and how does it function? And I was talking to Karen a little bit later, and we both came up and said, "Well, yeah, you're playing the trump card. How about that?" It's like, this ain't a card game, man. This is what is the race card? And so what it does is to say, I guess what it says is, if you talk about race, they're playing the race card. They want to tell you that talking about race is illegitimate. But in fact, the whole concept of the race card is an illegitimate concept, because it's not. We're not playing a card game. So make them say what the race card is, and ask them, and what cards are you playing?
Exactly.
It's a card game. It's like, so what we do is we put words in our mouth, and then we have to defend them. It's just like Karen was telling me that she was down at the ice site there in Chicago, and somebody says to her, "Well, you just support blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, you see, they put words in your mouth, and then you have to say, "No, I don't," but, and if you don't say, "No, I don't," and I said, this is what we tell them. Say, listen, you spit that out like they try to just shove a cake of soap in your mouth and say, "Look, buddy, you tell me what you support, and I'll tell you what I support. But don't you tell me what I support." We keep playing this word game, and when we equivocate, here's another great equivocation that we all have to stop. And I heard Lieutenant Governor, who's named from Illinois, Lieutenant Governor
Juliana
Stratton. Yeah, she said, this is before they thought ICE did. "We are doing the hard work. We are doing the heavy lifting." And then she did the big equivocation. "Is there more work to do?" Oh, of course there is. You just discounted your message by 40%. You don't need to say that. Everyone knows there's more work to do, but what it basically does is say, we haven't done enough. Everyone knows that.
One of the things that I catch myself saying, and listen, I'm not trying to turn this into a therapy session, but one of the things that I catch myself saying and trying hard not to say is, Democrats are not perfect. Well, we know that. And we say it often. Right. We've all gotten into that. Democrats are not perfect. And I have to force myself to say something other than that, or not say it at all. And I kind of like this is one of the reasons why I believe we have to talk about things that we are working for and working toward, as much as down talking or highlighting what the Republicans are not doing. It should be more leading from what we're doing and doing well. And oh, by the way, the Republicans are the ones that are not doing the work to partner with what Lieutenant Governor is saying. So, Paul, always good to hear you.
Not saying.
Go ahead.
Not saying. We don't want to say I'm perfect. That doesn't mean we have to say, "Hey, I'm not."
I'm not perfect. Right? Yeah. It's,
I have to say that.
It's changing the tense and the manner. Yeah.
Right. We just have to say our message and don't use the Donald Rumsfeld came up with during the Iraq War with. Do we have the army we wish we had? No, we don't. But and everybody parrots this. Don't do that. Just hit the nail on. It's like when we do this, it's like hitting the nail sideways and bending the nail while it's halfway in. It's like, well, that's a boner nail. It's
now
like,
I got to straighten the nail out to hit it or pull that one out. Yeah, got it.
Exactly.
All right, Professor Paul. Thanks for the schooling on language. All right, man. Be safe. Talk with you soon. Let's take a quick break, guys. 773-763-9278. This is Richard Chu. I'm sitting in for Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive here on WCPT. We'll be right back.
Hey, Thom Hartmann here. Mark your calendar for Wednesday, October 15th at my favorite deli restaurant, Max and Benny's in Northbrook. I'll be there talking about and signing copies of my newest book, The Last American President. This is a free event for all my WCPT listeners. Just register on WCPT.com. Attendance will be limited to the first 100 people, so please go to WCPT.com to register today. Max and Benny's, 7 p.m. Wednesday, October 15, 461 Waukegan Road in Northbrook. Tag, you're it.
Turn up the heat on every drive with a Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Our tariff-free vehicles are available for immediate delivery, like the 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease the 2025 Macan Electric for only $949 a month for 39 months. Don't miss out on the $7,500 EV tax credit ending September 30th and grab your electric Porsche today at the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $4,929 to exact. Excludes tax, title, license, and dock fee. No security deposit required. Expires 9/30/2025.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Now back to Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT 820.
Hey guys, this is Richard Chu from Chu's Views, sitting in for Joan Esposito. All right, let's get them quick and fast. We got some callers still available for us to talk to. Brian from Joliet. Hey, Brian, good morning. Good afternoon. I knew it was going to happen, Matt. Brian, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Richard. Hope you're doing well.
I am.
And good. I have a question. Do you think a government shutdown will help the Democrats? And if so, how? And I hope it would help the Democrats.
Well, my answer is layered. If you're looking for a straight yes or no answer, I think in this environment right now, it could. However, I think that the spin that comes from the right, specifically from the White House and from Fox Bumblehead network, it would make it, the perception would be that it's the Democrats' fault. That's my concern. I also have a concern for as I said earlier in the show today, and I said it this morning on my show, I'm concerned about the employees in different marketplaces, different cities and communities that will be impacted. It's not just Washington, D.C. government employees. So I don't want to see that happen, but we also know that Trump's not willing to really come to the table. In fact, he's been told not to come up with a compromise. So I don't know if my answer is going to solve the problem. I think that for the Democrats, it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. It's a tough one. I don't want to see people losing their jobs. I'd rather not see a shutdown, my personal opinion, because I don't want to see those people in those communities be affected by it financially. So that's how I look at it, Brian. I don't know if that answers your question or anybody else's, but thank you for asking it.
That answers my question. Thank you very much for taking my call, Richard.
Thanks, Brian, for your call and contribution. We'll talk soon. Let's go to Ron here in Chicago. Hey, Ron, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Yes, excuse me. Yesterday at the Broadway Detention Center,
Broadview, sorry.
An ICE agent drove his car over a sidewalk and hit a protester. This is on video, and he kept driving off.
Yeah.
And the man was hospitalized for a day.
identified because he was wearing a mask, and the ICE agent sent to the detention center. They won't cooperate with the local police.
Yeah. One of the things that the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, did that I applaud is the executive order on masks. They're not rolling. Let me back up on that. They are still showing up in places in Chicago, but very few of them are masks because with this executive order, it gives the city of Chicago's police department a certain amount of purview to actually detain an ICE agent if they were to do that in the city. That's one of the reasons, and then not a lot of people are talking about this, that they're showing up and creating this havoc in suburban communities outside of the city of Chicago's legal jurisdictional authority. So folks like our good friend Karen Byrne from True Blue Politics podcast and many others are showing up at these locations and asking ICE agents to show their face, and also talking to the city councils and the town hall leaders about getting ICE to show their faces. The state police have a certain amount of authority here, and the county police do when it comes to that kind of reckless behavior and endangerment. And I did see that video, and it's very disturbing, just like the woman who got pepper sprayed, knocked down, and then chokehold. And I'm sure you probably have seen that by now. So they're out of control, Ron. They're way out of control. They need to be put down. I don't mean anything other than they need to be put down in terms of their ability to cause this kind of havoc and destroying people's lives. So thank you for that reminder and keeping us aware of what's going on.
Okay, thank you. Right.
Thanks, Ron. Be well. Stay safe. All right, let's see if we can grab a little bit of time with Debbie before we wrap up today. Hey, Debbie, welcome to the show.
Hey, so glad to hear you at a reasonable hour.
You need to stop teasing me. Everybody's like, yeah, Chew, it's good to hear your voice, man, but I'm not getting up at 6 o'clock to hear you. So y'all need to stop that noise.
I miss you. I used to hear you in the family meeting every week, and you were like the voice of reason.
Well, thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it.
But you had a great show today. And just remember, perfection is the enemy of the good.
Yep, it is.
Anyway, and we are all human, and none of us are perfect. There is no perfection. Perfection is what you're as perfect a person as you'll ever be right when you die. That's your perfection, and that's the way it just goes. Anyway, I feel that I am not being represented.
Uh-oh.
I'm not being represented in Washington. I'm not being represented by the administration. And there's a very, very famous line that says, no taxation without representation. Does that mean we can all hold out on our taxes?
I know. I've said this. I'm glad you're saying it, and others need to be saying it as well. That is, that's the question. I mean, if we're not being properly represented by the federal government, and if benefits are being taken away from citizens in the country, and other things are happening as it relates to our taxes, the tariffs, all the rest, then why are we paying federal taxes? I mean, it's a question to be asked. And here's one of those. This is one of those moments, Debbie, where I wish that our representatives that are elected from our quote unquote side of the conversation would ask that question to the White House. With all that you're doing, that's reckless behavior for the country, why should Americans have to pay federal taxes based on what you're doing to harm the country? See, those are the kind of things
I don't agree with how they're spending the money.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting represented.
Nope.
So why should I, if I was paying a bill and I wasn't getting any services for what I was paying, I wouldn't pay for it.
There you go. It's simple math for me. Debbie, listen, I'm sorry that I make you get up early in the morning to check out the show, but I'm glad you tuned into Joan's show and all the rest of you who listen to Joan and to Patty and the rest of our shows that are broadcast here from WCPT. So thanks for your support and your contribution.
Come back if you can stay awake and fill in for Joan because you're terrific and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Have a great rest of the day. Appreciate your contribution.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, guys, we have some great folks that follow WCPT, all of our shows, and we're blessed to have that. I was reminded that, and I was looking for the words to use, but I was reminded by someone dear to me that said ICE agents need to be reined in rather than put down. And I was looking for something to say, and that's absolutely correct. They need to be reined in because the words put down probably may be taken the wrong way. But that being said, we're going to keep putting out the best that we can here at WCPT, whether it be me in the morning, Stephanie's show following me, Thom Hartmann, Joan, Patty, Rick in the evening, and our weekend shows, because we believe in what we're doing, and we appreciate the way in which you guys, as our listeners all over the country, have supported the effort that we put out. So stay with us, guys. We're going to stay with you. We have to remember to stay locked armed and keep our heads up, not let our heads be in the sand, and keep fighting forward. So that's it for me today. Thanks to you all for letting me sit in and hang out with you. And I'm pretty sure Joan will be back tomorrow. You'll catch me in a little over 12 hours, I guess. So appreciate you all being with us, and thanks for your support. This is Richard Chu sitting in for Joan Esposito. We're going to leave you alone and let you have a good rest of the evening. Stay tuned for Patty Vasquez, my road dog that's driving you home. We'll see you. Bye.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the mid-1800s, many American women were expected to follow what history calls the cult of true womanhood, where men would go off to work and women would stay home, taking care of the house, their children, and husbands. During the Civil War, many women left their homes to join the fight. Thousands of women from the North and South volunteered to join brigades, while over 400 women disguised themselves as men to fight in the war. In the Union, 20,000 white and African American women worked as nurses, traveling from hospital to hospital, offering care to wounded soldiers, even helping to convince the government to create United States Sanitary Commission to create a preventive, hygienic, and sanitary service for the benefit of the Army. During the Civil War, women were faced with new duties, challenging many men's minds for what should be a proper woman's place.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.